We'll fly so high we can't come down, baby. You wanna feel it rain. If you wanna feel the raindrops, I'll take you to
The link. Join the conversation now with Chris and Sabrina. Call 637-0094. Breeze 93.9 FM.
Everyone's feeling pretty. It's hotter than July. They can pull the problems. They get in touch as if and they tried. From the park, I hear rhythm. All is hot on the box. Tonight there will be a party. And on the corner at the end of the block. I didn't know you would be jumping until the break of dawn. But nobody ever told you that you would be jumping until the break of dawn. Would be jumping, come on. They want us to join the fight, but our answer today is to let all our worries, like the breeze through our fingers slip away. Peace has come to Zimbabwe, the world right off the one. Now's the time for celebration, 'cause we've only just begun. Didn't know you would be jumping until the break of dawn. But nobody ever told you that you would be jumping until the break of dawn. Nobody ever told you that you would be jumping until the break of dawn. Nobody ever told you that you would be jumping until the break of dawn. Would be jumping and jumping and jumping and jump on. without your gun, I can't do anything. I'm lost. I'm walking in circles, babe. I can't find my spot. Ooh, I can't lie. You are my everything. Why you keep telling me you want nothing with me? I still wanna try to make it alright. I can't sleep at night. I can't close my eyes. I'm tossing and turning. My mind, it keeps burning. I'm going insane. I need you, my baby. What must I say to get you back into my life? What would you say if I asked you to be my wife? Hope you don't run away. I just want you to stay. Please, baby, come and see. You mean the world to me. We can hold hands, walk in the sand. I'll be your man. You'll be my woman. We can just fly away, wasting our time. But you're not here with me. I'm losing my mind.
Link up with Chris and Sabrina at 637-0094 on Breeze 93.9 FM.
Boy, I'll be faithful. Promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very start. My love's on the table. Take it how you want it, boy. Yeah. Take it how you want it. Boy, I'll be faithful. I promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very start. My love's on the table. Take it how you want it, boy. Yeah. Take it how you want it, boy. Let's settle down and have a conversation. Whatever you're thinking, I'll be sure to listen. You're my man. You got what I need. Calling to come running. I found what is it you're seeking. Don't worry, boy. Don't worry about a thing. You can put your trust in me. Just say the word, what it is that got you bugging. I'll be there whenever you are stressing. And when I do get close to you, all of your friends ain't got no clue. I just can't wait to be with you. I promise I'll make everything so easy. Boy, I'll be faithful. Promise not to hurt your heart. Swear I'm not able. I loved you from the very
Sinya uli di sombranza e su ita saluda antes di niga radzaudzan malak estrezas durante todo em memu a nogi distância como cupo palu zangiman malak guafi ikonum nasugi airi prebatu la noci nai banderata gaigi pues atan fanni bandera kau esta pagua pumalapa giluk tanu man libri tentamiti man ko badi.
Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
We're here. Yes, we are here. Wow.
As Joseph runs outside.
Yep, he's going
Apparently,
out.
we're starting the show now.
We are, yeah. It's 6:26 Thursday, January 20th.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, 2022. Pacific Point, Scalbo Enterprises, ITD, and Jack in the Box.
It's still dark outside. So
yeah.
Landon and his projections at the National Weather Service, true to their word, they were saying that sunrise is not going to happen this week till 6:46
Right.
on the dot. And
Yep.
it's about 20 minutes prior to that, and still
Wow, it looks beautiful outside,
Yeah.
though. Beautiful.
might be a nice time to, if
wouldn't
you're having
even-
a cup of coffee, put your mask on and go outside.
You wouldn't even know that there's a super typhoon raging outside.
Metaphorically.
Metaphorically correct, yes. Good morning. Morning, Facebook Live. Morning, The Breeze. We're KUAM-FM in Agotni, Guam. The morning after yet another record-setting night of COVID-19 positive cases. Jay, 817 was?
815.
Oh, sorry, 815.
Yeah, you were off by 2.
I was. Sorry.
But every case counts. And, of course, thoughts and prayers, of course, this morning. We're going to give you all the details. But 2 more COVID-related fatalities were confirmed yesterday. And then in addition to that, 815 new positives, which is an all-time single-day high. In addition to that, 2,893 test samples, almost 2,900, another all-time high for the number of tests.
The positivity rate?
Positivity rate, 23.3%.
That's not good, right?
No, I'm sorry, 28%. I'm sorry.
Not
Forgot
good.
to carry the 1. So, I mean, and again, we always use kind of like the canonical example, right? Imagine if you were a guardsman or a nurse swabbing people.
Yeah.
Now it's basically every third person that you swab is going to pop positive. So there was that. In addition to that, we also got information back from samples sent here in mid.
Omicron is officially here. It's been here since December, which means it's probably here before then.
Yeah.
Also, there's a new incident commander for the COVID-19 response, former Senator Fernando Esteves.
Yes.
Who we did get in an interview. So he replayed. They didn't come out with a release or anything, but let me just tell you what happened, BTS, behind the scenes. Is Chima Bakum, I believe, has gone back to his old position. Remember, he was like focusing on TB and leprosy and whatnot. And then Public Health hired former Senator Fernando Esteves, who had been, I believe, part of the surgeon cell, the guard surgeon cell under Dr. Mike Cruz.
Yeah, because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but his MOS, his military occupational specialty in the Guard, is he's part of the medical corps. Right?
Yeah, it's like procuring medical supplies. Or
yeah,
something.
so that's part of his background.
Right, yeah. So now he's over at Public Health. He's been hired over there to be the incident commander. And so that's why you guys saw him on the news, but we will be playing this story on the news, which is coming up here at 6:29. Pretty crazy developments yesterday. The Catholic schools just going online.
Yeah.
And what we're starting to see here is where there's a lack of action and some would say leadership from the administration. Is we saw this back in the Delta surge when the restaurants said, hey, you know what, we're just going to go to 50% capacity because, I don't know, you guys are crazy. And they did that. And then now we have the Catholic schools going online for 3 weeks, like just a 3-week timeout. Let's go online. A good
3 weeks
move.
or 2?
2, I don't know.
Well, I know they're okay. Well,
Well,
not to dispute you at all. I mean, they said they're planning right now to do it through February 7th. We'll see where we are at that, and then make their determination.
Right, so 17 days. So we're getting Father Val, though. Father Val Rodriguez is the Catholic school superintendent. He's coming on at 7 to kind of just go into this decision. And, of course, everybody is wondering if the Guam Department of Education
will follow suit.
We had Superintendent John Fernandez on yesterday. He did answer the question, but this is like a whole new era that we're living in, a whole new part of the pandemic where apparently, according to the governor, lieutenant governor, the physicians advisory group, getting, 300, 400, 500, 600, 800 positive cases in a single night is something that they believe is sustainable. And I mean, if they didn't think that, we would be doing something. I mean, even a token measure like, hey, gatherings down or whatever. But obviously they think that we can make it through this. I just feel like we're the guinea pigs. Honestly, I do. I feel like Dr. Berg is something like crazy mad scientist, and he's got this plan to just let the COVID run and see what happens. I mean, it's just nuts that there's no presence. I mean, we're having press conferences about the ancient order of Chamorro. We're having press conferences about Law enforcement officer, 18% increase. We're probably going to have a press conference about teachers getting a raise, but there ain't no press conference about the COVID. Well, actually, there is today. Public Health is having their weekly update. But you know what I mean. And how many of you parents out there are having the COVID pep talk, right, for public school kids? I mean, you guys do that?
That's an interesting way to put it.
I mean, it's crazy. I just got on the phone with my boy
You say
Shannon.
pep talk, lecture.
Yeah, and you
stern.
gotta be like, hey, don't touch anything. Make sure you wear your mask because you know they're exposed in school. They're exposed during lunchtime, right? They go and they play and do all kinds of stuff.
And you basically got to have this conversation 3 times at least. Right?
Yeah. And they know, you know what I mean. And I'm not like, oh God, live in fear, be scary, but it is scary because this COVID, it's like a wild card. You don't know if you're gonna have the sniffles or are you gonna die. So that to me as a parent, that's a pretty freaking wide swath that I just want to make sure that. I mean, if the government's not going to do it, then we just got to do it. And we did it in the Delta surge when people were dropping dead, when Umpqua were showing up dead on arrival, and no one even cared. And so, yeah, that's where we are. 800 something, not a peep out of Adeloop. But it is what it is, guys. It is what it is.
Yeah, so 28% positivity rate. That's pretty high. That's almost 1 out of 3.
Yeah, so again, we had when we had the superintendent on yesterday, he was basically saying that it's really not up to the governor because GDOE is their own agency, but they kind of look to public health and to the governor to say, hey, okay, everybody, it's super typhooning really hard. Let's all go inside for a little while. Because right now, the way it is, it's like you got the governor and Lieutenant Governor Josh out here cha-chaing in the super typhoon, and they're all looking at us like, come on to the dance floor.
And you know what, Chris? I actually thought about your interview because one thing stood out to me when we got the JIC and I was going over it last night when it said that, Omicron has been confirmed. And just to give you like a little bit of context, samples were analyzed from Guam between December 19th through the 27th. So that's right through the Christmas holiday, including the Christmas shopping days.
Yep.
And of the 9 samples sent, 7 were identified as Omicron. The other 2 were Delta. So
Delta is still here.
And I thought about your interview with John yesterday, which was fantastic, by the way, bro.
It was great. Long interview.
40 plus minutes of really good information. And I remember one particular soundbite, I guess, stuck out to me was he even said, he goes, man, we're trying to make all these decisions. We're planning and replanning and doing 180s and everything like that. And we're responding and hopefully talking to stakeholders and parents. But he goes, I remember correct me if I'm wrong, I'm paraphrasing him, but he said, I'm just hoping someone would tell me if Omicron is here or not. And then we can kind of base it on that. Well, as of last night,
it's here.
Now you got your proof.
I mean, people have been saying it was here, but the official results coming in and reported by public health there. So Omicron is here. It's the highly contagious variant of the COVID-19.
What is it, 7 to 8 times more infection? And that was just in the early days.
Yeah.
That was right after Thanksgiving. They were projecting 7 to 8 times. Who knows now?
Right. So guys, today actually that website covidtest.gov goes live. I know a lot of people had been putting in their orders, and so what it is it's one order per
household
address.
Yeah.
Per household address.
Up to 4. You can get
4
up to 4
tests, right? And so what everyone is talking about is, and this has been a phrase that we really got very familiar with during this pandemic. Maybe you guys might remember this phrase, multi-generational household.
Oh, boy, you're bringing that back.
Multi-generational household.
MGH.
The MGH is what? MGH? Where you have, Nana, Tata, Nino, Nina, right? It's many generations.
Not MGK. That's Machine Gun Kelly. That's a completely different thing.
So you've got grandma, grandpa, mom, dad. Hopefully, if you're lucky, you got both in the same house. If not, mom, dad, kids, maybe sometimes the grands.
Joser is exactly in that situation.
So how many noses do you have in your household, sir? 6. 6 noses, right? But you can only get 4 tests. Right.
And six noses across.
You have to figure that one out, sir.
Sir, if you don't mind, 6 noses across 3 generations, too.
Right, yeah.
In his house.
I saw something on Twitter where it was like, oh, you can rock, paper, scissors for the last COVID test. But you know what could happen, because these tests are at the pharmacy level, is at the snap of a finger. I mean, we've shown that we can jump through all the procurement or over all the procurement hurdles. The governor could right now buy 10,000 home COVID-19 test kits and give them out to the public if she wanted to. I mean, we have the money, right? And again, that's kind of a big thing with a lot of people is we have the resources to navigate this pandemic. So why are we doing the same old thing, like making people line up for hours at Tizen to get tested. Frankly, we've been saying the same thing every morning. I hope it gets through to their skulls.
Dr. Holwen, his last 3 interviews is he has called for more testing. He said
Yeah.
like that would be his suggestion.
I mean, the fact that we're getting free COVID-19 tests, 3 years into this thing is also, it's just frustrating. And I feel our people's frustration. You know what I mean? No one's telling you to run outside with your head cut off like a chicken scared. But, I mean, it's a real threat, right? I mean, 800 something, you can't. You just can't. I mean, 800 cases. I feel a YouTube video coming down. Do you feel one, sir? I think they're going to come out with it. Maybe they should do a TikTok video, right? They got the digital engagement guy. Look, I want something on TikTok. I want YouTube. I want Instagram. I want a Twitter video. And we're making a joke of it, but that's the extent of the communication that we get. It's like, we just don't hear from the governor and lieutenant governor. But let me ask you, if you did hear from them, would it matter? Would you feel soothed, eased? Or would you just have more questions, right? Maybe they need to do a town hall. I don't know. It's basic stuff, guys. It's 6:37, Thursday, January 20th. Yeah, so big numbers. Again, we've seen them all week. Dr. Hoa Wen, he called this, guys. He called, again, with the Delta surge, said we need to start preparing. And yet, here we are. And I really feel for the frontliners and all this, because they got their pins, right? They did. You guys got your pins. No, I'm serious. Thank you, guys. Thank you. But I'm pretty sure that shine's wearing off that pin when you're looking at 800 something and they're not doing anything, and you guys are the last stop, right? The hospitals are the last stop for all these positives. So yeah, good luck today, and let's go out and get it in a safe way. As you can see, our company has bumped it up a little bit. We're rocking the new N95s. Yep.
You got a nice one. You got the 3. Let me see. Can you model? Okay. Chris, 95. Chris, rocking an N95 on the dance floor.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Got Super Typhoon.
Back it up, bro.
Omicron. Give me an O. M. We put the micro in Omicron. Write that down. Write that down.
Then we do like the dubstep version. It's like, it's like, oh, Chris. N95.
Omicron. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to.
That's a Transformers version, actually.
Yeah, it is. We're trying to give you a little comic relief, guys. Just a little bit, right? Because it's stressful. I mean,
Yeah.
especially on this small island where you have like your Catholic school cousins are going online because they're like, oh my God, and your public school cousins are like, go to the bus stop. You still got to go to school.
And you know what? Father Val is going to come on, as you said, Chris, at the top of the hour. So please stay tuned for that. About 22 minutes, Father Val will be jumping in. But, kudos and props and shout outs to all of the Catholic school teachers who had to scramble, I'm sure, to get their lesson plans, to get, I think the meetings back, communicate with the students, and they're going back to that.
I think it's a good decision. I just want to commend the Catholic schools. Of course, they're a much smaller operation. They can do things like, okay, we're going to go online tomorrow. You know what I mean? Whereas GDOE is the government's largest agency. They've got, 30,000 plus students, right? They kind of just hit their groove with the face-to-face. And so they just can't. And I know you guys in the comments are like, oh, what does it take for GDOE to follow suit? Well, yeah, it basically takes a board decision, right? And from what John Fernandez said yesterday is they're not just going to go in and randomly say, okay, we're going online. They're looking to public health. Like if public health is not saying, it's really bad, guys, go inside, lock your door, then they're just GDOE, there's no justification for them to make a decision about going online because our public health authority with the governor and lieutenant governor are concentrating on the reelection or, being sarcastic. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, obviously, they're not even talking about the COVID. They're talking about law enforcement raises. They're talking about Ancient Order of the Chamorro. And so as GDOE and Superintendent Fernandez, it's crickets, right? It's crickets. So they can't just go, so we're going to shut it down based on, but the Catholic schools can. And they did. And I think it's a great decision. It's something Dr. Hoa Wen he's been calling a limitation for the gatherings.
You kept needling him yesterday, about, okay, this is a situation, where are we? do we just go about it, or should we actually like begin to scale back, step down, however you want to go? Yeah, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
What would you, in your best guess estimation, how
My
much
best guesstimation?
How much? Yeah, thank you. How much larger than the Catholic school system is GDOE? What,
It's way larger, man.
3 times, 4 times?
Yeah,
Because
easily.
I was just thinking of something, and a image came into my mind, right? Like, the Catholic school system to actually suspend face-to-face learning and return to I mean, that's major.
Yeah.
There's what, thousands of kids in the Catholic school system across elementary, middle. There's even pre-K, right? There's like a Mercy Heights. Or,
I think Mercy Heights is still up. We're going to ask Father Val, but I heard
okay.
that they might still be open. I'm not
okay.
sure.
And then of course the high schools, right? Of which there are like 3, 4.
Right.
To return and shift focus or to shift format, that's a pretty big move and everything. GDOE, that's like, GDOE can't exactly like stop on a dime and make that kind of like
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what John did say yesterday was
That's a huge entity. That's a big machine.
Superintendent John Fernandez was saying that they're kind of thinking that they're going to be hit harder with these staffing shortages because people are out because they're positive or out because they're a close contact. He seems to think that they're going to be hit harder by that. But I just want to say, did you guys see the GDOE dashboard for yesterday? 61 student cases, right? I mean, I don't know, guys. If I was the governor, I would just be like, okay, hold on, everybody, time out, right? But again, GDOE, I'm not sure with their de-escalation or escalation or whatever you want to call it. Would they go to cohorts first and then online is like the last resort, or do they again? I mean, we kind of just going to parent-teacher conference tomorrow, right? So, yeah, I don't know what to say, guys, other than we'll keep you posted, right? Whether it's the board or John Fernandez or the governor.
There's the dashboard, by the way, Chris.
And so they had 61 student cases. That's the most ever that has been reported by the Guam Department of Education, right? And so I want to go back to what we're saying is with the numbers that were reported, Jay, last night. How many of those were the positives were a result of contact tracing?
I believe. Let me see. I know we've. Hang on, real quick. Okay, contact tracing. Okay, 815 new cases of COVID-19, as you said, Chris.
Yeah.
Of those, 46 were identified through contact tracing.
Right. And so Public Health has their press conference today. They have a weekly, they try and have a weekly briefing. And so I'm pretty sure the media is going to be asking about the contact tracing, because I think the day before within the last few days, they had like, I want to say over 100 cases that were identified through contact tracing. Mm-hmm. But what we're seeing as we get deeper into this pandemic, it's more shallow with the information. I mean, to me, that just blows my mind. Like, why are we telling the people less now that it's worse? You know what I mean? They used to report the positives at the different government agencies. They used to report on the clusters, the contact tracing. They used to do that. We got used to hearing about, oh, Iglesia Ni Cristo, or oh, this restaurant, or oh, that. And now it's throwing a bunch of numbers at us. But hopefully we'll have that opportunity with Public Health in the press conference later.
Oh, man, those are scary days, because I remember in the beginning that really concerned me, and we talked about this early on in it seemed to be a case of like that's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if Public Health like consciously, or if it was something with the leadership change when Chima was replaced by former Senator Fernando Esteves. I don't know, because they don't tell us.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get everybody up to speed, if I may, Chris,
Yes,
on
please.
what's kind of become like our daily routine here.
Yep.
Letting you know if in fact the Teton testing site is available in the current day or not. I'm on tinyurl.com/COVID stops.
Right.
Of course, you need an appointment. Today, Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, all 3 days sold out, booked solid. And that would be, Joseph and I were talking about this earlier, that would be an indication of why the testing numbers are so high, because people are just,
They want to get tested.
Yeah,
of course.
they're making
because we're telling people to know their status and to go get tested. So people want to know.
And of course, Public Health has said they adopted the policy, or the procedure, I should say, on Monday, where they said if you are symptomatic, you will be prioritized. So, front of the line. you'll be seen first.
That's what they said, but then
Yeah.
we've seen in the comments people saying that's not what's happening at Teason. But obviously, with the number of tests that they're doing, I want to say I think they're not turning anyone away. I mean, is it going to be difficult? Yes, right. Of course it is. You're going to have to wait a long time. So just from Jason, it's they set up this appointment system, and it's full. It's fully booked. It's sold out.
So Tejan is full today, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, like book solid.
Yeah, but they still do entertain limited drive-ins. I don't. If anybody out there from public health is listening, good morning. Good morning. If you could just share with us what the policy is on the drive-ups. Do you see them till the last one is there, or do you stop accepting new ones after a certain point in time?
Mm-hmm.
The people of Guam would like to know. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm trying to say, okay, I'm also looking for comparison on the northern and southern regional community health
Right.
centers. Those are available. I mean, it listed as vaccination clinics, but we saw yesterday they said there was also testing available. So again, if you need to contact the northern or southern community health, so let me bring this up here. I'm like juggling.
We did have some comments here. Chris gave comments. I made an appointment, but not until Saturday. Well, at least you got something to look forward to, right? And I mean, I hope you're okay until Saturday. Wow, that's nuts. And the protocol, Jay, I think if you have symptoms, Chris, you're supposed to lock yourself in your room and don't look out the window if you're vaccinated, it's for 5 minutes. If you're unvaxxed, it's
Okay.
5 years. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
I
Good morning.
have something. I'm not at all making like light of this, and
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people have even asked me because we talked about the mental health yesterday. One thing that you can do if you are like on quarantine and you are feeling like a little bit like you're tense, maybe anxious and everything like that. You know what? You can go on YouTube or go on Netflix. There are these videos that they're these long loops. Chris, I'm sure you've seen this where it has like 4K videos of aquariums.
Huh?
You ever see that like on YouTube? You can go there, just type in like 4K aquarium, and all you'll see is like fish going around. That's proven psychologically to be very, very calming. So if people are, you said like lock yourself in your room, don't look outside. If you need to calm down, if you feel like you're a little bit, look at an aquarium, like a video of an aquarium.
I've gone through about 30 stress balls in this pandemic.
Oh, there you go.
Let's go to the phone just real quick before we get into the news. Good morning, sir. You had a question?
Yes, Chris,
Yes, sir.
what is this governor trying to do? Get everybody sick is no problem. Like the doctors say, is their doctor, and there's no problem with the coronavirus because he got shot already. Is he trying to get everybody to get sick so they can send her money back here to Guam so she can deposit in her bank to get all the interest again? Is that what she's trying to do?
I don't know, sir. There might be a YouTube video coming out today. Maybe she'll address it in the video.
You to go for it so you can die?
Good point, sir. I guess all I would say is just do your part to be safer. If the governor is not concerned about the high case counts, if the chairman of the Physician Advisory Group says 400, 500, it's going to be okay, then what can we do? Is there a healthy mistrust of the government? Hell yes. Of course. People don't trust the government. We don't trust them. We don't trust them.
That's
It's terrible.
true, man.
So you got to trust yourself, sir. Trust yourself.
I'm a disabled guy, and I'm listening to you every morning,
Thank you.
and that's really bothering me because I'm a disabled myself, okay? And and the way I'm talking, I got stroke, heart attack, and I got a heart problem, and I need open heart surgery, and I can't afford it. They can't help me to get my wife to go with me. So they want us to die. That's it. Go ahead and get coronavirus and everything. Is that how the governor's going to do to us? So they can send her the money and put it in her bank, sir, and collect the interest.
Thank
I
you,
hope
sir.
the governor's hearing this. And is that what you call Magalai? Magalai, you ain't nothing, lady.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I feel the guy's frustration. You know what I mean? Obviously, with his conditions, he's someone who would definitely not fare well against Omicron or Delta or the B1 variant or whatever is out here. But that's where our people at. When you talk about mistrusting the government, look at it this way: like information should go here. When there's no information to go here, it creates a void, and people will put their own information in it. And we have seen such little communication, such little reassurance from this administration and the public health authority. Is that now you got people like that out here believing that all it is about is putting federal funds in a bank so they could collect interest, right? I mean, that is just people say it all the time, hear it all every day. That's what people talk about. That's what they think of the governor. And I think she's got a lot of work to do in this election, not if you want to win, but just to really kind of address the people, in a forum that isn't, Facebook video, YouTube. I mean, you hear for yourself, the comments just going crazy. Keep them coming. We do got to get into the news, though, because we have Father Val.
Yeah, and I did want to say, speaking of testing, right? So testing available today. We want to emphasize that. As we said earlier, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Testing booked solid for today, Friday, and Saturday.
Sold out for the next 3 days.
Exactly, at Teasin. I mean, this is like a Billy Joel concert at like Madison Square Garden, right?
Elton John, sold the hell out.
There we go. But testing is available at the Dedido Northern Public Health Center and down in Lahan at the Southern Clinic. You do, again, need to make an appointment. There are availabilities. I'm looking at the screen right now. Availabilities for both today and tomorrow at either clinic in the north or south. So you do need to book an appointment. Same URL, tinyurl.com/COVID stops with me. Once I start talking, I'm going to throw all the links and the phone numbers in there in the comments so you guys can get it. But if you're taking notes right now, if you need to talk to anybody at the Northern Clinic, it is 671-635-7525 or 671-635-7526 for the Dedido Public Health Center. Down in Inalahan, if you are in the south, call 671-828-7604 or 7605. Again, Inalahan Public Health Clinic, 671-828-7604 or 7605. There are availabilities at both the Northern and Southern Clinic. But if you're just joining us and everything, the Teasin testing site booked solid for the next 3 days. No availabilities as far as appointments.
Jay, I don't see it anywhere officially, but I know a lot of people have been getting tested at Guam Radiology over at Dr. Berg's place. But I
heard that, and they said there was a super long line there.
But there's been nothing official to come out in the Joint Information Center releases, so I don't know, guys, if that's like a free thing or we haven't seen anything on it. We'll run through the comments just real quick, guys, before we get into the news. Thank you to our Facebook Live audience. Thank you guys so much. We're also on the Breeze, 93.9 KUAM FM. Just want to thank everybody. I go, around in the day, and I always run into people. Every day I run into a few people who say they listen to this show. They wake up with it every morning. I just want to thank you guys so much for that. It is the link, miss a lot, and there's definitely a lot to miss if you don't tune in this morning. So thank you guys. Rosemary Laguatnia, thank you, and good morning. Liz Agagi from Eva Beach, Hawaii, Killeen, Texas, with Annie Bonds in the house. Emma Olalia, good morning and have a great day. Please all be safe. I say be safer. Being safe is not working. This is what being safe got us. We need to be safer.
Okay, Frame Tyron is saying, yes, Guam Radiology Center is free according to Frame. So, I mean, that's an option.
It is.
And again, if you need to be tested, I mean, if you are available, you can always call your private clinic as well.
Right on, yes. Mama Bear Debbie Davis out of Kentucky, good morning to you too. F. Glenn Lujan, good morning. Glenn is a teacher at GDOE, and I'm pretty sure he's hearing it from his share of parents. What's the situation, right? Rosemary Laguatnia, again, what would the numbers be to reach Omicron herd immunity? It's not that again, as Dr. Berg has stated. And when you talk to other doctors in this community, what they do say about Dr. Berg is he is of that mentality, and you can kind of listen to his interviews and put it together for yourself if you don't want to take my word for it. But it does seem like he's of that mentality where, everyone's going to get it anyway, let it rip. And you can't really argue that because that's what's happening right now. They're letting it rip on us. Who else we got here? Jeffrey Oko, good morning, Jason and Chris.
Good morning, Jeff.
Mark Santos, Dr. Wen recommended limiting social gatherings. Schools are a social gathering, yes. What else we got here? Someone had commented, Jay, that they got tested and they hadn't gotten the results as of 1:15:22. Terrible. Jamie comments that. I'm so sorry about that, Jamie. And then my daughter was also tested on Saturday, was informed by a nurse. Her results would be given to her in 24 hours. Called public health yesterday after numerous phone calls and was told it would take 3 to 5 business days to receive her results.
Okay, here's I have somewhat of a recommendation if this helps, and we certainly hope it does.
Right.
There is I'm sure the public health people, when you did get tested, who is this again? Was this Jamie or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rosemary too.
Okay, Jamie and Rosemary. If you didn't already register, you can go to tinyurl.com/Guam testing, and that is it's called the Simple Report system, and they say it's faster processing of your results. So you'll get that electronically, and then there's also an email, but the email is like, if you need it for like a work excuse or something like that. So try that, tinyurl.com/Guam testing. I'm going to add that to the comments too, and hopefully that'll let you get your results faster.
Right, thank you. Crystal Duenas, Jay, you read all those public health numbers. She said, good luck at getting them to answer those numbers. Well, Crystal, be positive, but not COVID positive. And I don't think they're open yet, right? They open at what, 8, 9?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, guys. We're going to go ahead and go over to Father Val. Let's switch it up a little bit, Jay. Again, F. Glenn Lujan, this is a comment he put a couple days ago. We talked with Superintendent John Fernandez about this. Staffing and faculty shortages at the schools. Glenn is a teacher at a school. I believe he teaches students with special needs. Central office staff detailed to various schools to assist with supervision and provide support. So that's where we're at. The question, again, the obvious question is, what happens when we run out of central staff?
Okay, and Jerome Canathis just said, I just threw the link in there for the Simple Report system. He said that's what Guam Radiology uses as well. So apparently that's...
So it kind of seems like Guam Radiology is like an extension of the public health testing. Maybe we'll ask about that today. 6:58, we're going to go in with Father Val Rodriguez, the Catholic Schools Superintendent, and then we'll get into your first look at news here on the link. Again, brought to you by Pacific Points, Calvo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Good morning, Father Val.
Hi, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Jason and Joe, sir. How are you this very crazy days?
How are you, Father Val?
Good.
Right on.
It's been very busy days, and I'm sure you know what it means.
Yeah, I do, Father Val. But I just gotta say, I support the decision for you guys to move to online. I think.
Oh, thank you very much.
Very prudent.
We have, of course, mixed reactions to the decisions that we made, but we cannot really please everyone. At the end of the day, being in the leadership position, you just have to make a decision which you think is the right thing to do.
Wow. In a leadership position, you make a decision about the right thing to do, and that was the decision that you had made, Father Val. Let's go into the reasoning. I mean, obviously, the reasons are obvious, but I just want to hear it from you.
Okay, so I think the very first reason we ask ourselves really is, why did we decide to go and shift to distance or remote learning? Well, of course, the very obvious reason, Chris, is that number one, the number of positive cases on island. We're not talking of the Catholic schools, but on the island-wide situation is very alarming. As we all know, last night we have 815 new cases. Tuesday, we have 637. That's why when we have those, me personally, when I saw all of those figures, I really have to start seriously thinking about the situation. And of course, when we talk of the high number of positive cases on island, the first question I ask myself is, how could I help in a way curb the surge that is going on? So we all know, of course, that the members of the Catholic schools are members of this island community. So whatever we do in our little communities affect the whole island. So I ask myself, how can we help in curbing this surge, the spike in the number of positive cases? So with that, of course, I was thinking that we try to avoid or lessen the possibilities of avenues of transmissions. So of course, being together, that's kind of like, for me, a kind of a venue where possible transmissions could happen. I would like to make it clear, Chris, that there has been no evidence so far that transmissions had occurred in any of our schools. But of course, we cannot deny the fact that the number of cases, it's just expected. If the island-wide number is going up, I'm expecting that our numbers in the Catholic schools, I don't really have the figure, are also going up. So of course, in that case, when some of our students go, of course, if they test positive, then you have an issue of students not having the opportunity to learn because they will be in their homes. So some of our teachers will have to go through into like you have students face to face with you, and some students will be online. You can just imagine how difficult that will be for the teachers. So that's one of the considerations. Another, of course, is, as you have just mentioned before we started our conversation, we also have staff getting positive. I don't have, again, the number. We have 2-3 faculty members, and you can just imagine if one teacher gets positive, then the students go face to face. So what happens to the students? The other teachers could not cover always for another teacher. So what do you do with those students? So we were thinking that going online or remote learning could really help us. The students who are maybe positive and those who are not can go distant learning. Everybody continues their learning experience, and the teacher or the staff, if he or she is positive but asymptomatic or maybe minor symptoms, can still go and hold distant learning. So in going into shifting into distant learning, I think the whole process of learning continues in spite of the situation that we have right now. So we all know that distant learning is not the norm. I think nothing can replace the face-to-face teaching. I always tell teachers when I'm able to talk with them, I said I could not even imagine. I have taught since I was ordained a priest in seminaries, in high schools, in colleges. I have taught, and I could never imagine myself teaching in distant learning. I mean, I have not done that in my life. So I know the sacrifices that our teachers are doing, but what can we do? That's all that we can do as of the moment for the safety of everyone. So another major consideration that we have, that's why we shifted to distant learning, is, as you have been mentioning, our school supplies for test kits is, according to our administrators, we have, I think, test kits that will last until tomorrow. And being able to test our kids that go to school when we see minor symptoms, we have to test them in order to make sure that they are safe to go to school. But when we run out of test kits, so how can we assure our community that our schools will continue to be safe? That's why the move that we have done is really proactive, Chris. I mean, we don't want to wait for the time then it might be too late for us to act.
Right.
That's why it's really a very proactive approach on our side.
Yeah, it is. We did have a comment here. I don't want to make it awkward, Father Val. Father Val, proactive, Gov, Lieutenant Gov, reactive. That was kind of funny. But Father, can we just go into the test kits? You said that you guys only have enough test kits to last until tomorrow. Can you give us more background on that? Who gets the test kits for you guys? And maybe explain a little bit of the reason for the shortage.
Yeah. So in my meeting, very long meeting, by the way, yesterday with our administrators, I was informed that the test kits that we have as of now in our schools, if the trend continues, we will be able to sustain or maintain the testing capability of our schools until Friday. And we are not assured that we can have test kits after that. And honestly, of course, it's public health that supplies us all of those supplies. And with the situation on the island, it is very understandable that they are not able to supply us with those test kits at the moment. Which, in a way, honestly, in a practical point of view, I would understand with all of this. Of course, they have to take care of the more public sites for testing, right? I mean, that's just understandable. And with that, as not being able to, we are not assured that we can have still test kits by Monday, Tuesday, or what do we do when our students come and we suspect them to have the virus and we cannot test them? So how can we be sure that our school community will continue to be safe? So our school communities as of the moment are very safe, Chris. This is just really very being proactive. We don't want to wait at that time and then we just all of a sudden shut down. So it's a major decision.
Yeah.
It was a crazy day for me, Chris, and I know that I get a lot of reactions, both positive and negative.
Let's
Of
talk
course,
about-
when I look at those negatives. Yeah.
Father
Okay,
Val,
Chris,
what are
yeah.
the negative reactions?
Well, of course, some people are just saying that this is just an ordinary flu. Why do we have to shut down our schools? I don't know. Going back to being before COVID, remember, even when a student just has an ordinary flu, we don't accept them in the classroom because we don't want everybody to get a flu. So why is now all of a sudden the question of it's just a flu? So are we like, for me, it's a question of, so are we now just past this COVID time? Hopefully it will be clear. So are we saying that after this COVID time, when somebody has a flu, it's okay to go to the classroom and what? You know?
Right. Father, were there other concerns about maybe parents not having like the child care or someone to stay home with the kids who are now online?
Yeah, definitely. That's why, Chris, we really are appealing to our parents. Okay, that when we shift to distance learning, I mean the consequence of it to our parents. That the kids will be at home and everything, and they might need supervision of their parents. But as of the moment, the utmost importance we have is really the safety and health of everyone. And if we do our part, then we can help each other. This is not just the role of our teachers, but the parents will have to do their part also. And we appeal to our parents really, Chris, because distance learning. One of the concerns is this: like, Father, are you sure that when we go on remote learning, will these kids really stay at home? When some of them, we find them like going to the malls, we really need the cooperation of everyone. If we do distance learning, remote learning, and then we go out and as if nothing happens, then the whole concept of the distance learning and remote learning is futile and it becomes meaningless. So it really is, everybody has to play the role in order to make this really work.
Father Val, what's the status on Mercy Heights?
Yeah, so actually the agreement is the distance and remote learning will only be for the first graders and up to high school. Okay, any school that has kindergarten down, they will continue to be on site. Okay, now the number one reason to that is somebody asked me, why would the daycare, or if you call them daycare, the kindergarten down, why would they continue on site? Well, how can you do distance learning and remote learning with these kids? I mean, with this age, with their age, we just can't do distance and remote learning with them. That's why our teachers who are taking care of these kids, they consider themselves really as frontliners to make sure that they really take care that it is safe even though they are on site. So they are doing all the protocols that they can to observe strictly the protocols, so that to make sure that even though these kids are on site, to make sure that it's a safe environment for them health-wise. So any sign or any minor symptom is automatically addressed. It's monitored strictly by our teachers.
Father Val, I just want to ask the obvious question for people listening out there who would say, well, if you're concerned about first graders on up, and you obviously pled your case about making the decision to move everyone online, then why doesn't the same argument and principle apply? And you did give the reason, but I'm just saying people are going to say that, oh, well, what's wrong with the pre-K, the kindergarten? And you're saying that it's just because they're so young that you can't really teach them online, right?
Yeah, we don't want to, Chris. We don't want to stop the learning. What's the right term for that? I mean, the process of learning. Mm-hmm. We don't want to stop that. That's why We don't shut down the school in a sense that everything stops. Learning continues. It will be just a change of mode of learning. Now, instead of a face-to-face, it will be distance and remote in order to avoid possibility of transmission of the virus. But that mode of learning is really difficult, if next to impossibility, to do with this kindergarten down. I mean, in consultation with the administrators and them consulting the teachers, it's just for them almost impossible to be able to teach kids at that level.
Father Val, obviously a lot of people in the comments are wondering if the public school system is going to follow suit. I don't want to make it awkward again, but do you have any thoughts or feelings about that?
Chris, I can only speak for, it's a different situation for us. We are a private institution. We are in a way autonomous to a certain degree. We can make decisions like this one major decision that we have to make. Unlike, of course, the GDOE, it's a government, I cannot speak for them.
Right.
If we have a lot of factors to consider, the deliberation, Chris, among all of us, the administrators, was very long. And how I wish I can, tell you how, because we are also divided in this issue, right? I mean, I have to be honest that even among us, we have to hurdle with each other. But at the end of the day, as I said, being the superintendent, I am called to make the decision at the end of the day and weigh everything from the comments of our parents, from the comments of our teachers, from the comments of our administrators. And at the end of the day, I will be the one to weigh all of those things and my own discernment on what should be done. So at the end of the day, I just have to make a decision. But if it is difficult for me to decide on that matter, weighing all of those factors, I can imagine the position of the one in the GDOE. He has more factors to consider.
Father
so
Val,
I understand that.
The former chairman of the Physicians Advisory Group, Dr. Ho Wen, was just texting me. Excellent and responsible decisions. Pre-K and kindergarten are hard to pass the virus due to their small lung capacity. Also, he notes, cannot follow mandates if test kits are not available, but I commend the Catholic schools on the hard but very responsible decision they've made.
Yeah, and I also would like to really commend our administrators of the schools and those in charge of all of this safety protocols and testing and everything in our respective schools, in the Catholic schools. They're really doing a great job. As I said, as of the moment, we are a very safe place for learning, but until Friday when we run out of these test kits, then we have a big question mark on how we assure the safety of our students. That's why we just have to make a decision.
So what did public health say, Father?
I'm still waiting for any communication from them. But of course, I was already informed that they have been reaching out to some of our officers, of course, our liaison officer and everything. But directly to me has not yet relayed. But I hope they would understand the decision that we have to make. We just have to assess our own community and, decide on the matter. We don't mean to create any division or any animosity or what. That's not the intention and never will be the intention. All throughout the pandemic situation, our Catholic, our office has been we consider ourselves to be partners. That's why if you notice, we really did our part with testing, vaccination, all of those things. Even though, Chris, they are not our mandate. Huh? Yeah. I mean, it's not our obligation to do those things, but our administrators, our teachers are doing extra effort. That's why every time I see them, I really tell them, guys, God bless you. I mean, this is not your work anymore, but we consider ourselves partners with government.
I mean, Father Val, if you think about it, each and every one of us is the public health authority in this pandemic, right? And especially when there's a vacuum of strong and effective leadership, it really comes down to the Chris's, the Jasons, the Jose's, the Josefas, the Father Vals to kind of pick everything up and make these decisions. Father Val, before we let you go, I did want to ask you to pray with us, if you could, or lead us in prayer.
Yeah,
right?
but,
wait, I think Jason has
yeah,
something.
but if I may add something, just for clarification,
Yes.
Chris, no? When does it really start and when does it really end? There are a lot of questions about that. it's good that you already asked how about the kindergarten and what. So I was able to explain that already. So again, for clarification, those who will go distance learning will be from first graders to high school. The kindergarten down will continue to be on site because it's really difficult to handle them with distance learning. When does it really start? It actually starts today. Okay, so distance learning, remote learning will start today. And the first day that they report is February 7. If February 7 is a Monday, right? That's the first day that they return. So, but today, Thursday and Friday, we give the discretion to the respective school administrators if they can immediately jump into distance learning. Because I was listening to you a while ago, Jason was mentioning like you can just imagine the all of a sudden transition of the faculty, the giving of the books, the giving of the materials, and all of those things, the planning of how they're gonna do it. So in my meeting with all the administrators, I gave them the discretion. I said, if you can switch to distance learning immediately starting today, Thursday, do so. But if you feel like you need time to prepare, discuss with your parents, with your faculty, plan out, distribute things, then it's all up to you. So whether they begin their distance learning or remote learning today or Friday will be up to them. But by Monday, everybody from the first graders to the high school will go distance learning. So that's how we will handle it. So I asked our parents to communicate. I'm sure that the administrators have already communicated with their parents. But just in case you did not receive any communication from your respective school, I advise you to communicate with them on when will it start, how it will be, how it will be. But I'm hoping they have already that information with them. I would like to thank, of course, when they heard that we will go and shift to distance learning. I'm so happy that GDOE itself, the grant section, called me up and said, Father, if we are really confirmed to go into distance learning, we would like to tell you that, of course, the laptops that we have from the grants and the MiFi and all of those. I'm so happy. Just the other day, they delivered to my office the SIM cards, the new SIM cards for the MiFi. I said, wow, God must have been preparing it. We were not discussing about distance learning yet. And yet, here we are, the SIM cards delivered to my office the other day for the new SIM cards for the MiFi of the students. So I would like to remind our administrators that all of those laptops that we have collected after we started face-to-face, maybe they may sign up again and avail of those laptops so that everybody can have the access to internet for distance learning. So I would like to really thank GDOE for that support and the grants. Would like to thank the school administration and the staff. And as I have mentioned, Chris, I just would like really to emphasize that to our parents. Okay, I know we have different points of view of how we will tackle this. I know that some of you may not agree with the decision that we go distance learning. My friends yesterday have been texting me and asked me how brave you are making the decision. I told them, just look at me as a father who, at the end of the day, has to think of what is best and safe for my students, for my kids, even though my kids sometimes may not like my decision. But as a father, I just have to, make the decision for them. I should know better as a father. And so I appeal to the parents, to understand us, to go with us. They always know that the decisions we make are not decisions that we just love doing. These are tough decisions to make. We have just to make this. And we ask for their help in making this work. What do I mean by that? As I've already mentioned, we go distance learning, but please, help the kids to really go distance learning. Don't let them go around, go to the malls or what, or else it just defeats the whole purpose of the distance learning of avoiding the transmission. Thank you very much to all of you. I have a lot of people to thank. I might not be able to thank you to Catherine Castro, Tony Diaz, who have been assisting us in all our concerns. Thank you very much to all of you. God bless you, and let us try. Each one of us, you play the role in order to really put a curve to this search. Yeah, I would like to end with a prayer that will be
I think
nice.
Jason. Sorry, Father Jason.
Father, if I may.
Jason. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Father. I thought that was a wonderful message to give to the parents. I was also going to ask: is there a message that you would like to deliver through this show to the students themselves and the faculty members who, whether they're transitioning to distance learning today or tomorrow or Monday, obviously there's a lot of students who might say, okay, well, it is what it is. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm going to attack it. I mean, obviously, you can do so much better as a student and make the most of this if you keep like a positive attitude. So to the students and the faculty, what would you say, Father?
Well, first of all, the faculty. As I have already mentioned, it's not easy to teach distance learning. It's such a very taxing job to do. I mean, everybody would just love to go face to face. So I know how difficult it will be for our faculty. So thank you very much for all the effort, the extra effort that you have to do in order to go into this distance learning. And of course, they all know, especially our teachers in the Catholic school, that this is not just a job that we do. This is a mission of, forming our kids in the likeness of Christ. I mean, it's a mission. I always tell them in my conversations with them, when you enter a Catholic school as a teacher, bear in mind that you are not here just a teacher, but you are here as a mother, as a father sent by God to take care of this kid. So sometimes as a father and mother, we just really have to do sacrifices. To our students, of course, I know you don't like, we have received even few reports that some students, even though sometimes they have the symptom, they would really force into going face to face. But we can. This is what the situation we are in now, and of course, we just have to do, as Jason you have mentioned, we just have to do what we can to make the most of it. We are into distance learning now, instead of just continuously fighting the situation of distance learning. We are already in this situation, we might as well make it productive for everyone. It will take both of you and the teacher and everybody else to make this really work for everyone. And always think that it's your safety and healthy, health that we are thinking of. That's why we made this major decision.
Thank you,
so
Father.
I hope, even though we are in distance learning, we will continue to learn and form each other.
Positive mental attitude goes a long way.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Could we end with a prayer, please?
Okay. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Loving Father, we always express our gratitude to you, for in spite of the many difficulties that we experience right now, especially with this another surge of this pandemic, we know that you continuously give us all the blessings that we need. We thank you for this beautiful morning, for giving us another life. And we truly believe that everything that comes into our lives are only ways of showing you our fidelity to you. That in spite of what we experience right now with this pandemic, may we see your will for us, that this makes us stronger believers in you and more faithful to you. Loving Father, we lift up to you all of those in authority, both in government and in the church. Help us. Give us the spirit of discernment, give us the enlightenment, the wisdom. Most importantly, Lord, let us see your will, so that may we continue to always put into practice what you want us to do. Of course, for the good of your people here on earth. For we desire only one thing, to always do your will and take care of those people you entrust to our care. We entrust to you all our frontliners, loving Father. We continue to ask you to give them the strength and the inspiration. It can be very tiring for them. For already more than 2 years, we have been combating this pandemic. We know how tired they are. So we ask you, Lord, to give them the strength and the health and the inspiration they need, so that they may continue to serve our communities, especially our sick brothers and sisters. We ask you, Lord, we beg you to touch all of those who are sick, especially those infected with coronavirus. Loving Father, you are almighty, you are sublime, you have all the power to clear them from any virus. We put our trust in you, and we consider you to be our loving Father, who would always give us what is good for each one of you, for each one of us. We lift up to you our island and the world. We ask you, Lord, to keep us safe always. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Viva Santa Maria Carmelita!
Viva!
Viva!
Thank you, Father Val.
Thank you,
God bless
Father.
you. There you go, Father Val Rodriguez here. We did have a couple comments.
Oh man, What a prayer. He's good.
Yeah.
He's really, really
Oh,
good.
God bless you, Father Val. Marilyn comments in. God bless you, Father Val, for a wise discernment. Continue to do a good job. Jesse Rosario. Our teachers need a pin. Yeah, they do. Where's the teacher's pin? Cynthia, my kids.
They need a pin. They need a collar. You know, they need a.
Yeah,
you know
medal,
what?
yeah.
Let's get them the NHS sash. Remember that?
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Matt, you know, okay, I'm not ashamed to admit this right now. Father, I've never actually shed a tear during a Catholic prayer.
Yeah.
I let a few go like on that one and everything.
Yeah.
Like Father Val's prayer is a beautiful
Beautiful prayer. And
Nothing wrong with crying, you guys. It's a great way to emote.
yeah, it is. A lot of support for him in the comments, which we'll get to in a bit. But let's go ahead and get to news right now. In for Sabrina Salas-Mantanani with the very latest from the KUAM News team, Jason Salas. Good morning, Jason.
All right. Good morning, Chris, and good morning, Guam. Thanks for being with us. As we said right off the top of the show, our island is in mourning today as we have recorded 2 more COVID-related casualties, bringing the total to 276 since March 15th of 2020. The 275th COVID-19 related fatality was a 70-year-old woman who was pronounced dead on arrival at GMH. She was unvaccinated and had underlying health conditions. The 276th COVID-related fatality was also at GMH in Tamuning. That patient was a 67-year-old man who was vaccinated and had underlying health conditions. Well, out of a new record 2,893 test samples analyzed yesterday, pretty much 2,900 tests, Public Health does report another high for single-day positive cases, 815 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed yesterday. Guam's total since the start of the pandemic is now over 25,000. It's 25,033 to be exact. 5,269 of your fellow Guamanians are currently isolated with the virus. As far as hospitalization impacts, hospitalizations have increased to 27 people being admitted, 15 at GMH, 11 at GRMC, and 1 person at the Naval Hospital in Agana Heights. At GMH, there are 2 people in the ICU. One of them is on a ventilator. And of those hospitalized, for those of you breaking down the vaccinated, unvaccinated split, 21 people of the 27 are vaccinated, 6 people are not. And of course, Link Update always brought to you by our friends at Pacific Points, and we thank them for their endorsement and their sponsorship of Link Updates each and every day here on the show. Continuing with COVID-19 news, 9 virus samples collected by Public Health on Guam between December the 19th and 27th were sent to Hawaii's Department of Health State Lab Division for genomic sequencing. And of those, we've been talking about this all morning, of the 9 samples sent to Hawaii, 7 were identified as the Omicron variant of concern, while the other 2 were identified as the Delta variant. If you're just joining us, you just heard from Father Val Rodriguez, who ended with a absolutely moving, stirring prayer. But of course, as his role as the superintendent of Catholic schools, he did announce that the Archdiocese will switch to remote learning for the time being, beginning today. And as Father Val said, he gave all of the Catholic schools the option, if they are so able to switch either today or tomorrow. But definitely all Catholic schools will be switching to distance learning at least through February 7th. The Archdiocese's spokesperson, Tony Diaz, told us yesterday the plan is hopefully for 2 weeks to stay in the remote learning format. And, quote, on February 7th, we anticipate and pray that students will be able to come back to school. Again, that Tony Diaz, the spokesperson. Food commodities are continuing their distribution today, available to village constituents only on a first-come, first-served basis. Now, there are a set number, a finite number of bags if you and your family are in need of food packages. Distribution is limited to 3 households per vehicle at the sites. Face masks must be worn, and you must bring a photo ID. Now, today, the food distribution will be held in Mangilau from 10 in the morning until high noon, 10 to 12, at the Mangilau Night Market grounds for constituents of Mangilau only. You can call the village mayor at 671-734-2163 for more information about that. 600 bags available for our brothers and sisters in Mangilau. Then in Tamuning, drive-through distribution will be from 2 to 4 this afternoon at the Tamuning Community Senior Citizen Center for Tamuning constituents only who previously registered for the TFAP program. And while supplies last, there are 500 food commodities packages there. You can call, of course, the office of Mayor Luis Rivera. That number is 671-646-5211. So again, today, food commodities being distributed over in Mangilau starting at 10 to 12. There are 600 bags. Again, please 3 households per vehicle. You must wear a mask and you must bring a photo ID. So Manila, 10 to 12, and over into Muning, 2 to 4. And please, only for residents of those respective villages. Tomorrow on Friday, down in Santa Rita, Sumay, drive-through distribution will be from 12:30 to 5 p.m. at the Santa Rita Community Center for constituents of that village. Once again, there are 400 bags that will be distributed. So again, if your family is in need of food commodities, please make plans to visit Manilao, Tamuning, or Santa Rita, Sumay if you are from those municipalities. Hopeful news now, as 302 tax refund checks totaling a little over $1 million have been processed and will be mailed out this week, according to Revan Tax. The checks are for error-free returns filed on or before December 30th of last year. You can check the status of your income tax refund by checking out your account at myguamtax.com and use the lookup status of 1040 refund tool. Once again, 302 tax refund checks in the amount of $1 million being prepared by Revan Tax today. You need to go to myguamtax.com to check on your status. Okay, let's continue our coronavirus news now as we're going to go into our news stories. And the first story, it takes into consideration the flowchart that was distributed by Public Health the other day. And Daniel Perez has a follow-up story on understanding the guidance flowchart itself for isolation and quarantine.
In the isolation and quarantine chart Public Health released for the general public, there are 3 categories, and according to COVID-19 Public Health Emergency Incident Commander Fernando Esteves, residents will ultimately fall into one of each, starting with those who aren't vaccinated.
If somebody is not fully vaccinated and they're a close contact, they have to quarantine for 10 days from the date of last exposure. So that's the simple part. That's if they're a close contact. If they're not fully vaccinated and they test positive and they feel symptomatic, then isolate for 10 days, and that's going to be discontinued. 24 hours if they've had no fever after 24 hours without the aid of any medications.
Fever is the biggest tell to watch out for, so that means no fever-reducing meds and symptoms have improved to end your isolation. Esteves added those who aren't vaccinated but are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms, all they have to do is quarantine for 10 days after they get tested. For those who are fully vaccinated but don't have the booster shot and are a close contact of someone who caught COVID,
we recommend that they quarantine for 5 days since the exposure of the last exposure, and that we also recommend that they get tested as well after 5 days. If somebody is fully vaccinated and not boosted and they've tested positive, and then if you look here, and then same consistent with all, that they're symptomatic, then they must isolate for 5 days since symptom onset.
Again, no fever-reducing meds can be used, and their fever and symptoms must have improved to end their isolation. Now, if residents are vaccinated and haven't gotten the booster, but are asymptomatic, they must quarantine for 5 days after getting tested. For those that are fully vaccinated and boosted or are ineligible for the booster, they fall in the last category, including some Manomco and children 4 or younger.
So if they're fully vaccinated and boosted or ineligible, if they're a close contact, we recommend that they just get tested after 5 days. There's no recommendation for quarantine if they're a close contact, and that's for the fully boosted.
If residents who are fully vaccinated and boosted test positive, they must isolate for 5 days since feeling symptoms, and if they have no fever and other symptoms have improved, they can end their isolation. For those asymptomatic, they must only isolate for 5 days. Esteves added the flowchart made by Public Health mirrors the one released by the CDC. The only difference, says DPHSS, modifies it to fit the ongoing COVID situation on the island. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
We go to Nestor Lecanto for our next KUM News Report, as Public Health has supported mandatory prescriber registration for opioids. Here's Nestor with that story.
The bill by Senator Talina Nelson notes that more than half of all local prescriptions are for opioids, but only 65 of 392 doctors who can prescribe controlled substances are registered to the Prescription Drug Monitoring Program database. Public Health's Division of Environmental Health Chief Tom Nadeau says they support mandatory prescriber registration.
This will result in improved patient care and management. Individual practitioners have a professional, lawful, and ethical duty to ensure controlled drugs are prescribed and dispensed in a manner that takes into account the nature of the drug being prescribed, the established medical standards for prescribing such drugs, that there is a legitimate medical purpose for treatment using these drugs.
But Gary Schiff, a patients' rights advocate, says the mandate is not necessary. He opposes what he believes is an unnecessary government intrusion into what should be a private matter between patient and physician.
The prescription drug monitoring program was set up to have the firewall at the pharmacy. If you go into a pharmacy with a Schedule 2, 3, 4, or 5 medication, they must, by law, access your history and see if you're doctor shopping, how many prescriptions. And if they don't do that, they won't be able to continue to order those drugs.
Public Health's Nadeau disagrees.
It starts with the prescriber. That's usually the physician. They're the one who writes the prescription. So I can't say that this should be just placed responsibility given to the pharmacist alone. I think this should be a whole healthcare community effort. Everything from the prescriber to dispenser, to the public, to law enforcement.
But Schiff believes it's a solution looking for a problem.
Now, I also believe strongly that the system we have is working. I don't see statistics where we're seeing prescription drug abuse on the street, people, stealing drugs, overdoses. That's not Guam.
The bill revises a previous measure introduced by Senator Nelson in 2020. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Tomas Manglona is here with us now to consider some regional headlines as the CNMI Senate is drafting up impeachment rules after the House voted, of course, to impeach Governor Ralph Torres.
Good on the Senate that they're already looking at least at the rules that were drafted back during the 18th legislature to prepare at the time, and then as we know, then Governor Fittil resigned. So at least they're not really starting from scratch.
Speaker Villagomez voted in favor of impeachment, and they're waiting for the Senate to adopt its rules later this week for the trial that would decide if Governor Ralph Torres remains in office. It would also set the parameters for the Speaker to appoint impeachment managers, who would be sitting representatives tasked with arguing their case. In a twist of fate, the Senate rules they may adopt were crafted by Governor Torres himself when he was a senator in 2013, preparing for the trial of Governor Benigno Fittil. But those rules were never set in motion because Fittil resigned after the House impeached him. Now Torres may have to face the remnants of the playbook he helped put together.
Meanwhile, the Senate is already preparing.
In this report by former KSPN2 News reporter Tina Sablan, who was an influential figure in Torres' recent impeachment and is currently running for governor under the Democratic Party, she speaks with then-Senator Ralph Torres in January 2013.
And we're just looking at various jurisdictions, and we're talking with some of other retired judges, justices, and to see what is the best way to approach that process here in the Senate, because we haven't had that experience here.
That experience, now perhaps all too familiar, as focus sharpens on the Senate's process. Senate President Jude Hofschneider held the same position in January 2013. He was interviewed in the same report by Tina Sablan regarding Fittil's impeachment.
I'm very much aware that they have a public mandate, and I respect that they are priorities for them to move swiftly with that resolution. And again, we need to take it head on, however it is. And when that issue comes around, we're gonna cross that bridge when it gets here.
And now, as history rhymes with itself, water is far from being under the bridge. Tomas Manglona for KOAM News.
And we do have a story on the national front for you as AT&T and Verizon are turning on 5G technology today, but airlines are saying the new tech interferes with their aircraft, creating a safety concern.
AT&T and Verizon say they're delaying the rollout of their 5G service near some airports amid concerns the signals could interfere with airplanes. In a statement, AT&T said, "We're frustrated by the FAA's inability to do what nearly 40 countries have done, which is to safely deploy 5G technology without disrupting aviation services, and we urge it to do so in a timely manner.
When it comes to safety, there's no calendar. You get it done right, or you don't do it.
Many airlines have warned the 5G service could interfere with the altimeter on many aircraft.
The FAA lists 17 systems that could be affected, and it says the pilot may not catch those errors in time to maintain safe flight and landing.
The CEOs of the major airlines all signed a letter warning that the new 5G services near airports could force them to ground half of the flights, resulting in major travel delays.
You know, we've got every stakeholder that keeps the airplane safe, the airlines, the manufacturers, the pilot unions, even on the mechanic side, the engineers, saying, hey, slow down.
The White House says it's working with AT&T, Verizon, and the airlines to solve the issues.
We're committed to reaching a solution around 5G deployment that maintains the highest level of safety while minimizing disruptions to passenger travel, cargo operations, and our economic recovery.
Phone companies have spent tens of billions of dollars on 5G, which brings much faster internet services and greater connectivity. Skylar Henry reporting for KUAM News.
And with the local angle on this story, the Guam airport says while it's concerned with the 5G issue and potential impact on aircraft instrument readings, it is not aware of any carriers operating the 5G program, or the platform, I should say, that fly into Guam. Of course, that was your Link Update headlines brought to you by our friends over at Pacific Points. Pacific Points, where you can do more, get more. And as always, we thank our friends so much for Pacific Points for sponsoring your news headlines. Finally, let's hear about today's headlines in Chamorro. Here's Uncle King Kitsa.
Buenos updates to get soon to be Chamorro ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Iparomaketsagi inatahan ni tinatmin ni COVID-19 tori eskwelahan Katoliko sa paromabira sa tatigya di remote learning natutong bipago na dia. This press meeting dyan tori tresin na prinsipal eskwelahan Katoliko dyan ni Archbishop Michael Burns anunsya ay Archdiocese Agatnia na Catholic Education na Superintendent Palivao Rodriguez sa DCD para mag-transition ni estudyante siya para din instansya na Finanagui lo temporaryo. Administrador de eskwela siya sa parofon makanta kay manayna i guardian siya dyan estudyante siya parofon ma-informa po di schedule i-class dyan para matsuli gi eskwela i material Finanagui. Mas asunto, gagan matis ma-aresta ni investigador i Highway Patrol na Division ni Guam Police Department sa Nicholas K. Half-Power, 23 anos na edad por vehicular homicide no segundo grado na felony gifinay tayong Pedro T. Tavar Jr., 59 anos na edad. No ma-report ni KUAM gitaluan ni 19 de Disyembre 2021 na sakan, man ma-respondo i GPD dyan ni Guam Fire Department sa put-crash gi Route 1 na talan fiyo ni Gain Animal Shelter dyan ni talan Fango gi Zazigo. Según ni dokumento ni Koti, akikit sa gi si Half-Power tumulay kay lane niya por para upos otro na kareta, ani atopi karetang Tavar ni color purple na Pathfinder no atopi ligan semento. Ma-extricate si Tavar gi karitanya, zamate gi después por itsit nudan niya. Matsaki si Half-Power mas por impetun manyugon ni ugwahan na sitnudan, dumuduro sa nugon niya impetun manyugon dyan peligro na bidan tinilay kansalan. Mabuk pas makandalo. Yuto muna sunto gifinut sa moro para pago na Webes gin ni KUAM News. Managwahan ni gobernamento kasi 3.5 milyon pesos para di siya mo nisisita azudo para wapasi mortgage niya, kastunhanam sang kandit, zanapas tax propiedad. Manunsya ni opisina ng gobyerno na di pre-application para Guam Homeowners Assistance Fund na programa sa para matutuhon marisibi gi Lunes, 31 gi Enero. Esta hulog gi 15,000 pesos para managwaha, punofan maamod guman niya ni banko, adi siya man ni nasentat saga, gisalapi na banda disti Enero 2020 na sakan. Siguro release gin ni Adelo ma-preba ni US Treasury Department ini na sabi ni American Rescue Plan na salapi para este na programa. Sina man-aplika ho para este online gi internet gi doa.guam.gov pasno HAF Program Office gi segundo bebanda gi ITC building gi sa Tamuning. Dito las 8 giga hasta las 5 gi papayngi Lunes hasta Bernes. Para Guam News Network, Guam Sikin Conception. Yasuto gi finut sa moro sa presenta sa ninafatto ni Familiang Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, where you get smart insights into your finances so you can make smart decisions with your money. With a daily personalized feed, you can compare your monthly income to spending. That's better. Discover where your money is actually going. You might be surprised. See what's essential and what isn't. The more you use the app, the smarter it gets. With insights from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
And And we're back, 7:45. Senator Tello Taitigui, Republican, in the KUAM News Link Zoom room. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Jason and the KUAM family. And most especially, good morning to the people of Guam.
Senator, let's just go ahead and start with your reaction to, I know you heard Catholic schools moving online, right? A lot of people wondering, GDOE, are they next? Just your thoughts.
Well, I think it's something they need to do. I've been keeping track of the infection rates yesterday, now at 800. I think we need to do something. It's never been this high. I think through the whole time during COVID, and I actually have a calendar and that my staff puts together on how many was tested and versus how many was positive. So we've been keeping track of that, on a daily basis. And the highest we've ever gone since December on back to March of 2020 was only 300. 335, I think it was.
And that was a cluster at, I think it was one of the construction barracks or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And that was it. And now you're at 800 plus. I think something needs to be done, even though like in some other jurisdictions like Hawaii, when I was there during Christmas, and it was really, the numbers were going high from 1,800 when I arrived, and then by the time I left, it was 3,300. And that's just the count of those that were going to the government facilities to get tested. I was not including those taking tests at home. So the numbers were going up, but yet there were no restrictions or lockdowns or anything like that put in place. I think they're just taking this as a strain that's not that, that bad as Delta. And I think they feel that's worse for them locking them down than continuing to move on. So herd immunity, I think, is what they're trying to gain in that perspective. On Guam, though, when you're getting fatalities coming in with people who are vaccinated, okay, now that's an issue. And more of that is coming up, people passing away who have been vaccinated or even partially vaccinated. As far as Catholic schools, making the announcement, I think they're doing well. However, it's quite soon, trying to scramble and get the books ready for them, to prepare. That's going to be difficult for some parents to also make arrangements with their work, having the kids at home now and doing non-FaceTime. That's a lot of variables in place that are going to be difficult. But your health is number one, and that's the first thing you should think of. Not the inconvenience or anything like that. I was asked actually this morning if St. John's or St. Paul's, non-Catholic schools but private schools, have taken the same initiative. Are you familiar with that? When I need the news, I go to KUAM.
Well, we'll find out. I haven't heard anything, but Jason's mom works at St. John's, and I know he would have said something. Yeah, we'll find out today, Senator.
Okay, thank you. I'll just let them know to tune in because we haven't gotten any word from there.
Right. I just kind of wanted, let's just go down the list of stuff. We'll start with the law enforcement officer pay raises. I had your minority colleague, Senator Frank Blas Jr., who is I want to say he's the public safety co-chair. And he was on yesterday basically saying that this whole study was because Guam Police Department officers were underpaid when compared to like their, stateside counterparts or whatever. And so he was of the thinking that in order to retain officers at GPD, it should have been GPD, and that should have got the 18% law enforcement raise. But instead, they gave it to,
across the board to all public, yeah.
So, I guess the train of thought is that if GPD was already behind everybody and then you raised everybody up, then they're still kind of behind. But what are your thoughts on just that whole law enforcement officer raise? And then I had John Fernandez on yesterday, and now they're working on one for the teachers.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised if it becomes a domino effect with everybody in the government of Guam. We know that. But what's very frustrating at this point is, once again, the administration is not working with all the senators. It was announced that she's working with one senator, maybe another senator, Senator San Agustin, but that's not all the senators, we're the ones that hold the purse strings on this. How are we going to pay these officers? Now, for her to say that we're going to be able to cover this cost in GPD, it won't be an increase or cause a dent in the current budget. And I'm thinking in my head, well, did we pat the GPD budget so much that they have $16 million to give out to these raises? And I'm thinking, how is that possible? You know, we're this year, I mean, it's already been announced there's going to be a recession. We haven't even got the payback, or wait, better, what is
Build
that?
Back Better. Yeah.
See, it's here. I'm even losing the name of it because it hasn't even been discussed anymore.
Yeah.
The BBB, you know, that's not coming. The EITC, it's already been expended. You know, people are saying, oh, we're going to use the EIT to spend it. We've already, you know, appropriated that funding. I don't know where we're going to get this funding. And now the domino effect is going into play.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we need to address some of the shortfalls or the funding that's, or the salary for police officers, you know, teachers. We can go down the list, public health individuals, you know, but I think what we need to do is work more on the starting pay of these individuals if we're trying to recruit people to come aboard. If you're starting them at such a low salary, then we're not going to get people wanting to take jobs like police officer or public safety, where, you know, you have to think of yourself as well, and your family's well-being on occupations such as that.
Yeah. Senator, you know, the governor, we played the story yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but she was talking about, because they had asked her, how are we going to pay for this? And she said that Senator Joe San Augustine was going to look at his funds, and they were going to use a combination of ARP, and then she said something about our directors are so good at saving money, so we're going to use that. And then there was about three other vague funding sources, but I'm just thinking, like, how does that fly when you ask, how are you going to pay for it? And it's like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, that, to me, that's just a little vague.
Well, it's smoke and mirrors. That's what you do when you're trying to get something through and you don't really want, you know, anybody to know how you're doing something. And it's so exhausting, you know. I mean, granted, every job, everything you do, hard work, you know, that's my motto, just hard work. You study, you prepare. But what's so frustrating is just losing all your energy on trying to dissect someone trying to manipulate the system or try to get away with something that should be discussed amongst everybody. I'm just going to, you know, like a dictatorship.
I was waiting for that. I wanted to, Senator, I wanted to ask you about something, because all the media, they got this email from this guy, and he was basically sharing this information, and it's common knowledge, right, about Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munya-Barnes, who has been off island since, and I actually had the notice here, she's been off island since July of last year, right? And then I know in talking with her staff that there had been a car accident that she was involved in September, right? But anyway, this person that had wrote an email to all of the island media, and they basically said, what is the deal with the Vice Speaker being gone for 6 months? And kind of just asking for more information on it. And I was able to get a statement from the Vice Speaker's, I think he's the Chief of Staff, Chirag Bhojwani. And the statement I got, this is from the Vice Speaker, Tina Rose Munya-Barnes, who has been off island since July 16th of last year. And I think one of the side effects of this thing is that we're in a situation now where you guys are passing laws with 7 votes. Right. And so I know that you have some of your colleagues who have their share of attendance problems, but and anyway, let me just read the statement here from the Vice Speaker. This is a statement from Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munya-Barnes, and it's in response to an email that was received by Island Media, and also senators got this. And the email said, I'd like to clarify how a sitting senator has lived in another state for health reasons for an estimated 6 months, all while receiving a salary from Guam's taxpayers. Please advise. And the response from the Vice Speaker's office, like so many, I am working remotely every day and will continue to focus on the people of Guam no matter what. It's true that I left home for a family medical emergency. It's true that I'm recovering from a serious car accident, something I wish on no one. And it's true that I would much rather be home with all of you than anywhere else in the world. I'm doing everything I can to return home to Guam as soon as I can, where I've been, and continue to be a lawful resident. At present, I'm working remotely on matters important to Guam, like the Good Neighbor Next Door program, which would secure added affordable housing for frontliners, and I'm engaged with federal partners on issues such as transshipment and the COFA renegotiations. So she's teleworking, basically, is what she said. So I don't know. I wanted to get a response from you, and it is a little bit of a sticky subject because I know that she has a family member who is ill there in the States. But at what point do you kind of just say, okay, I better focus on my family. It's been 6 months.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with me, because I haven't seen that press or the release coming from, or the response coming from this Vice Speaker's office at all. In fact, none of us, or I didn't personally, or my office didn't receive any kind of notification of her being off island for any kind of medical reasons. But, there's HIPAA issues, involved in that, and I don't want to really get into that. We're a very sympathetic community, and I can empathize with having someone sick. I mean, I was sick myself. Unfortunately, I wasn't working at the time, so I didn't have to answer to anybody and just focus on my getting well. So, so I'm glad there finally is a statement coming out from her office, and she's claiming she's working remotely. But I'm surprised that she hasn't been on any of the public hearings. When I was in Hawaii, taking short time there to see family, I made sure I went to the public hearing. There was a public hearing while I was gone, but I made sure when I was in Hawaii to show up on that. However, I think it's the vote that's really important that we need in the legislature. However, if you think about, if you're that individual saying that, I received that letter, by the way, from that individual you're talking about as well, and another letter from another individual who asked the same question as well. And my response was, thank you, acknowledge receipt of your email. However, in circumstances like this, you need to take that question to the ethics committee, to the speaker's office and ask that question there. So I don't know if they have, but then again, just knowing that she finally responded to the people of Guam who she serves and what she's doing, working remotely. I know that other senators are covering her for her when it comes to public hearings,
that's my question, Senator, is if she's saying in this statement that she's working remotely, that she's engaged with federal partners, that she's continuing to work on that neighbor thing, then why can't she attend session remotely? I mean, do you guys have like protocols in place for that by now, or?
Yeah, once a month to come to session. It could be very costly if she's out there. And I know that, to me, family always comes first. And Chris, I'm sure you do the same way. When you have someone who's sick, that's priority, number one. But then the people of Guam still need, you work for them. They still need to know what's going on. And like I said, I'm glad that some statement did come out from her office moving forward. But, if you think about it too, I was thinking, how do you make someone accountable, who is a government of Guam employee when, one, they don't have sick leave or accumulate sick leave, two, they don't have annual leave. The senators, and from what I gather, it happened a while ago. I think it was in the 33rd Guam legislature, or maybe the 32nd Guam legislature, where I think it was Senator Respicio was the one that introduced legislation to get rid of any kind of accumulation of sick leave or annual leave. I mean, even the governor of Guam and the lieutenant governor of Guam accumulate sick leave. I mean, if everyone else who works for the government of Guam receive sick leave and annual leave, they're accounted for in case they don't show up for work for one reason or another. I introduced a bill in the 35th Guam legislature in 2019 to lift the cap on allowing sick leave to be shared with other colleagues in the government of Guam. They were capping it at a certain amount. And I'm like, why would you cap it? If someone is sick, someone who's going through cancer, which takes a long period of time to get through and need the assistance, and for a family member, who's also sick that you're the caregiver for, you should be allowed to continue to care for that person. It's very difficult trying to cover those costs. So receiving a paycheck is very, very, very helpful. And if you can do that by using someone else's sick leave who wants to give it to you, donate it to you, then it should be.
Yeah, but Senator, you guys don't get sick leave. We wouldn't be having this conversation if you did. But I'm just saying, at what point do we have? And I'm talking about it. I know all the media got it, but it's sensitive because they feel like, oh, I don't know, is there a, but I'm just saying, and I'm very familiar talking about things that people don't want to talk about. It's a quarter of the term. 6 months, right? And although the vice speaker says she's working remotely, we're not really seeing that because she still has other senators chairing her committees or whatever.
Well, I think that, like I said, when I was off island, and I think even Mr. Byrne, when he was off island on vacation, he was taken during the week, he also showed up during the public hearing. At least be well-versed and ask questions or be, part of, we're all doing Zoom, it's actually made it more convenient for some people, just to be on Zoom if you're off island. However, I don't know the situation completely. There was
Let me give you a couple comments here that we're getting. Rosemary comments in, as touchy as this topic is, she is an elected person and is accountable to the people, so there should be some communication. Yeah, it shouldn't take 6 months in an anonymous email or whatever to get information on this. F. Glenn comments, need to go back with policies and protocol to address excessive absences from attending session. Micah comments, if the president was gravely sick or can't effectively perform the duties of their offices, they would be replaced by the vice president. F. Glenn again, possible revisit policy in the legislative body on how to proceed when voting. Things do happen, you're right, and that's why we understand it. And I would totally understand if the vice speaker came out and said, look, I know you guys voted me in, but there's just a lot going on in my family. I got to focus on that. I'm going to resign or whatever, and I'll hit you up next election or something,
Well, Chris, I think there are two things we have to think about this. To have a senator resign, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I get that.
You have to have a special election.
Right.
That's $300,000 plus. So, and that's, you have to think about, okay, maybe I can continue to do this job as best as I can, rather than putting a $300,000 price tag on the people of Guam to endure that. I know there's a certain amount of months that you go where you don't have a special election, that one is appointed or it's just left empty. But I really think that if we are to have that same accountability as other employees of the government of Guam for sick leave, then the senators should have that same type of responsibility. And in using sick leave, if you're gone and if you're not able to get any shared sick leave or anything, then they're not paid, period. Maintain that job. But if you if you used up your sick leave and anybody else who donated to you, use that up. And once that's gone, then you just don't get paid.
Yeah.
That's how you make people accountable. If you see senators who are who on vacation, utilizing vacation, you want to be able to know, okay, was that vacation or was that work?
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have either. So I think situations like this, if Senator Barnes was out on leave for sick leave and her sick leave is used up and she doesn't get paid moving forward, while she's away, I don't think we're going to have that many people complain about it.
Senator, you brought up, can we just jump over to KUAM TV real quick? I'm sorry, I have a couple more points on this.
No worries.
We're going to jump over to KUAM TV again on the breeze. We're KUAM FM in Hagåtña, Guam. This is the link. We're brought to you by Pacific Points, Calvo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box. Your 8 o'clock news is on the way. KUAM TV, here we come. Link, KUAM TV. Welcome to the Link. Senator Clint Rigel is coming up. There's a big oversight hearing, or there's a hearing with GPA, and they're trying to build a power plant next to the PD school. There's a law that prevents them from doing that, and GPA is trying to get that. Well, we'll just catch up with Senator Clint Rigel. Also, our 8 o'clock newscast, and then we're debuting some new content on the KUAM Podcast Network. I'm telling you guys, stay where you're at. You're going to love this. We've been around for, what is it, Jay, 60 million years? Yeah. How long?
Yeah, I anchored my first show. I didn't, like, everybody thinks Sabrina and I have been anchoring together forever. I anchored my first show with Moses.
Right. Yes, and actually we've been around so long.
We didn't have the teleprompter. It was tablets back then.
We've been around so long that former Congresswoman Madeline Medalla was like our first receptionist. So that being said, we have a lot of archival footage, and we kind of kicked around the idea, like, let's take advantage of this. And it was kind of like, okay, we needed footage for something. We had to dub it from the old dinosaur tapes to digital, and it gave us the idea to bring you guys a great podcast series called From the Files, where we look at our archival footage and we kind of retell a lot of stories from back in the day that just there's no way for you to look at this stuff. And we're going to go in on some of the biggest typhoons that hit Guam in the 90s and the early 2000s. That's coming up at 9.
The imagery is absolutely stunning,
Yeah,
the least of which
the hair, though.
Nestor Lecanto rocking like the 90s like fashion and everything like that.
And that's
Remember what an awesome mustache Nestor had like back in the day?
It's basically like it's going to be like a time capsule every episode, and we're just really excited. Right now, though, we are in with Senator Telo Taitigui. What we're talking about here is Vice Speaker Tina Munia Barnes, who notified the legislature and her colleagues that she was going off island on July 16th, and I've actually got all of the notices, and what she has been doing is continuously noticing that she's not going to be here on island. We do know that there was an accident in September, but a concerned citizen had written the senator saying, we have a senator who's been absent for 6 months. At what point do we kind of hold him accountable? And Senator Telo Taitigui, I brought up the idea that maybe she should resign, right? If the family matters are too great for her to take her focus away from, then the people of Guam totally understand that, right? Focus on your family, girl. And you said that if she did that, we would be stuck with a huge bill because we'd have to have a special election up until a certain point, and I'll go find out with GEC what that point is. But I would just counter and say we're already paying a huge price because the Vice Speaker oversees the Committee on Public Accountability, right? And they've been coming out with some good audits that we haven't heard anything about from the legislature. Human Resources, Guam Buildup, Forgotten Revitalization, who cares about that? Telecoms, technology. So she has a responsibility. She was voted in office to oversee these things. I mean, come sleet or snow, rain or shine. And so I would say we're already paying a price because we've got a vacuum where she should be doing that job. And I understand the situation and the delicateness of it, but again, it's something that we have to talk about because she's an elected leader.
Well, I think just having her put out that notice or, responding the letter that she read just recently is very helpful to find out really what's going on because we've been left in the dark for quite some time on really what's going on. She says she's doing things remotely, but we haven't seen her on any of the Zoom public hearings, which, even some of us who've been off island, not even us, but even I was mentioning Director Burns, who was off island, who attended a public hearing, while he was on vacation. But I think really what we should do in circumstances like this is to bring back the sick leave and the annual leave that senators should be accounted for, like all the other government in Guam employees. Even the lieutenant governor and governor has sick leave that they have to account for. And if an individual or your family member is sick and you have to take leave, then you use your sick leave. And if you run out of sick leave, maybe someone can share it with you, like legislation I introduced to extend that, lift the cap to allow, unlimited sick leave from share, a share program. That way, you're accounted for, just like everyone else in the government of Guam is. Then they're accounted for. But, we all can sympathize and empathize and send our prayers to her for a speedy recovery, as well as her family member who is in need of medical care off island. And I understand what she's going through. And I definitely, like I say, I sympathize with her because I've been in that situation. However, I was not working for anyone at the time, and I was taking the time.
You had cancer.
Yeah, I was going through cancer treatment, an operation and all that. But the people of Guam are very sympathetic to things like this, especially we have to go off island the majority of time to get medical care, or some people just decide to do it in the first place.
There's
and
another comment.
But then today it's allowed us to still be engaged by Zoom, like what we're doing now. Instead of my being in the studio, I can talk to you here. And I'm just, my prayers are sent to the Vice Speaker and her family member who's sick. And I do believe that we should bring back, that sick leave, and it doesn't even have to be annual leave. The senators doesn't have to accumulate annual leave. Put that aside, just sick leave. And then there we can be accounted for.
Let me read some of these comments here. Glenn comments, just like us teachers, we have to provide emergency lesson plans. The same should go with our leaders. To be fair, though, Senator Amanda Shelton has kind of picked up the duties that the Vice Speaker is responsible for. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Rosemary comments in here, what agency or private business allows this length of absence without any type of leave in place and still remain in place of employment? Glenn again, situations and emergencies happen. I'm more concerned about when it's time to vote during session, when it involves the need for 8 to move or act on something. Just a thought. Bing, 6 months off island, that's insane. A family member tried to do that during remote learning, and the principal of her school said, no, it has to be on island. How is it good for the goose and not the gander? Mike, a public office is vital to the progression of our people, and if an elected official cannot effectively or efficiently perform their duties, what use is holding the office? If any elected official needs to be excused from their work, then what use is there holding their office? So what if it costs $300,000 for a special election? Then we have ARP funds to use. And I think the point here is people are saying that, 6 weeks, maybe a month, 2 months, okay. 6 months, I don't know. And if our senators are passing laws with 7 votes.
Right. Well, like I said, if we had sick leave to be accounted for, and then we're not able to, we run out of sick leave or not able to get any person to share it with us, then that individual doesn't get paid. And I don't think it would be such a big deal for anybody to feel bad about this. I think the letter or that was sent to me was, how can the people of Guam pay the salary to someone who's not there? Well, I think that if we put that sick leave in place, like I said, and I think that's something I'm going to have to do, to keep us accountable, the senators accountable. I'm not worried about annual leave. If they're worried about, just like the governor and lieutenant governor, they do not accumulate annual leave.
Yeah.
But they do sick leave. So I think that's something that we should bring back, and it looks like I'm introducing legislation to do just that.
Okay, Senator. Well, thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, and
I know you had a little financial thing to talk about, so go ahead.
Well, no, it's financial. Well, everything's financial. It's kind of scary what's going on, but the letter that was sent yesterday to the Attorney General's office.
Right. Yes. Okay. So you had requested an opinion from the Attorney General, right? And this was relative to, refresh my memory, I'm trying to find it.
Well, I think we had a conversation a while about the OPA's report that was sent out, and I believe it was 2109, but it also discussed about the OPA's report number 2103.
Right.
And anyways, we talked about this in the last time I was on the air with you. And
excess revenues. This is. Does the governor have the authority to spend excess revenues? That was the question you posed. That's
another AG.
Okay, I got it. You're talking about the Port Authority of Guam audit?
Yeah,
okay.
I guess, the Port Authority of Guam, that's the discussion that we had a while. Last time we were talking about the OPA report and the questionable and unaccountable back wages that were given. the increase in their what was it? The calculation of their when people get increments. They were getting these increments while they're not even employed, that were granted while they were away. There were so many indiscretions and questionable things that were going on. And today the Port Authority and the reason why I sent this letter is because even, the general manager mentioned that he would bring this issue up to the Attorney General. Well, I haven't seen that at all, to question the OPA's report. This is $3.1 million of wages. Now, don't get me wrong, if they're entitled to this, that's fine. If the courts find that they're entitled to this, that's fine. However, it's questionable because the OPA in black and white has written that it's unaccountable back wages pay. There's a conflicting notification of personal action.
There was a lot of red flags. It was like one big red flag.
There's a lot of total red flags into this. And for, the general manager just say that he notified the Attorney General. I didn't see it. So I went ahead and sent a letter to the Attorney General to investigate it because we've got 4 more people that has to be ratified. And today the Port Authority at 3:00 is going to have a board meeting. And in that board meeting, they're going to basically ratify, the payments of these, of these back wages. So it's something I think that number one, the board members really need to look at this before they vote on anything, whether the Attorney General of Guam needs to review any documents and sign off on any payments. And why are you just doing this now? Has it been paid out already? Has this amount been paid out to these employees already? It's just covering, dotting our I's and crossing our T's because we've already spent millions of dollars or $1 million on attorney's fees. The next thing you know, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, spend more funding on attorney's fees, to rectify this. So today is a public, their board meeting to do this. And I think that the board members really need to look at this first before making any kind of decision. So that's the Attorney General.
Yeah.
The other one that
that was the juicy one. Senator, I just want to say that what she's talking about is that the Port 7, basically when they were out, when they calculated and they were allowed to come back, they calculated their back wages. And what they did is when they calculated it, they gave them all outstanding reviews, which comes with a bigger raise than if you're just a run-of-the-mill type employee. And so they went with like the ultimate highest way to give them the most amount of money. And yeah, if I was a board member of the port, I would be like, hold on, Rory, let's hold on a second, because there's a huge audit. Now you're reaching out to the Attorney General. It's like a big red flag. I think they should just table the whole thing until we figure everything out.
Well, at least until we get an Attorney General's opinion.
Right. But what it looks like is happening is they're going to go meet, and then Rory's going to strong arm them into signing off on everything. And we're going to be looking at another audit 3-6 months down the road that says the exact same thing that the last one did.
Well, we've seen him do that on another board meeting that he was trying to, one of the board members, he was trying to
right,
saying yes to follow his lead on this. And that's not what a general manager is supposed to do in a board. It's the board that leads, not the general manager.
I think they had an oversight chair. There was an oversight hearing, I want to say last year, that she had promised the people of Guam she was going to continue. It never happened. Senator, thank you. We got to run to do the news now, though.
Okay, yeah, the other one, we can talk about that later. It's about the authority of the governor and spending any excess revenue. We've got an opinion from the Attorney General's office that no, she has no right to use any excess revenue. And we're being told there's $62 million in excess revenue after the end of fiscal FY21. However, 20 million has gone to tax returns. They said, and then they're talking about the LEAP, and they're talking about war claims. There is nothing in those bills that say the money is going to come from excess revenue. It's her transfer authority, but yet the administration is saying they're using excess revenue to pay for that. No, I don't think so. There's nothing in the bill that does it. But, I have an attorney general's opinion. We tried to do this last year. He favored her side, saying, oh no, she can use it to pay off old debts or things like that. Now this time, no. The attorney general is clear and precise on his findings and his opinions, and we will take that to the bank.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, thank you
Which
so
bank?
much.
Oh, let me guess. Just kidding. All right, thank you. Hey, you always do your little thing you say.
I did create a great day.
Got it. Okay, there you go, Senator Teletide. It's 8:20. Let's go to get into the news with Jason Solis. Our 8 o'clock newscast is brought to you by Pacific Points with the very latest. Jay, did you have something else first? Or you okay?
Oh,
You
no,
good?
this is part of the news. 'Cause
Okay.
we do have an update about testing.
Thank you. Jason Solis again with our 8 a.m. Newscast at 8:20, brought to you by Pacific Points. Good morning, my friend.
All right, good morning and good morning, Guam. Of course, your link updates brought to you as always by Pacific Points, and thank you so much to our friends at Pacific Points. Do more, get more with the Pacific Points Rewards Program. Make sure to register for it. It's going to save you money. You're going to be happy for it. Let's get right into the news now. As I said, point of clarification about the testing sites. As we were saying, and I even refreshed the page here, the appointments that are now required to be tested at the Tejan site booked for the next 3 days. So if you would like to get tested at either the Derido or Inalahan public health centers, you do need to call to be tested. I did converse with public health, and they said you do need to call. Making the appointment via Eventbrite is for vaccinations, but if you would like to be tested up in Derido or down in Inalahan, you do need to call those numbers again. We put them in the comments. So thank you, Joe, sir. So the Derido Public Health Clinic is 671-635-7525 or 7526. Joe, sir's got it up on your screen. 671-635-7525 or 7526, or Inalahan 671-828-7604 or 7605 or 7518. So if you are in need of testing, and there were, as we'll get to, there were almost 2,900 Guamanians that got tested 2 days ago, please make sure to call either the Derido or Inalahan Public Health Center to schedule a test. At either of those clinics, you can always, of course, go to your private clinic and be seen. Also, from the testing front today, in Jotnia today, starting at 3:30 in the afternoon, the after-school vaccination program will be down at Emuluhan Elementary School from 3:30 in the afternoon until 6 p.m. Again, Emuluhan Elementary School in Jotnia, doing vaccinations for all Guamanians ages 5 and over that are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. That's from 3:30 to 6 at Emuluhan Elementary. Our island is grieving today the loss of 2 more Guamanians, bringing the total COVID-related casualties to 276 since last March. The 275th COVID-19 related fatality was a 70-year-old woman who was pronounced dead on arrival at GMH. She was unvaccinated and had underlying health conditions. The 276th COVID-19 related fatality was also at GMH in Tamuning. That patient was a 67-year-old man who was vaccinated and had underlying health conditions. As I was saying, out of a new record 2,893 test samples analyzed yesterday, Public Health did report another high for single-day positive cases, 815 new cases of COVID-19 on our island. The total since the start of the pandemic is now 25,033 cases since March 15th, 2020. 5,269 Guamanians are currently isolated with the virus. As far as impact on hospitalizations, 27 people have been admitted, 15 at GMH, 11 at GRMC, and 1 at Naval Hospital. At GMH, a pair of people are in the ICU, and 1 of them is on a ventilator. Of those hospitalized people, of the 27, 21 have received the vaccine, 6 are unvaccinated. Also, it is official now, Omicron is on Guam, and it has been evidently for a few weeks, as 9 virus samples collected by Public Health between December 19th and 27th were sent to a Hawaii lab for genomic sequencing, and of those 9 samples, 7 returned positive, or were identified, I should say, as the Omicron variant. 2 were identified as the Delta variant. Earlier on the link today, we of course had Father Val Rodriguez, the superintendent of Catholic schools, and he detailed the plans to switch to remote learning for the time being beginning today. Now remember, of course, Father Val said all of the island's Catholic schools have the discretion, if they can logistically do so, to switch today or tomorrow, but all Catholic schools will be using the distance learning format beginning on Monday and for about 2 weeks. The Archdiocese of Agana spokesperson Tony Diaz told KUM News On February 7th, we anticipate and pray that students will be able to come back to school again. That was Tony Diaz. Again, this is a temporary decision with the spread of the virus throughout our community. Food distribution continues today as commodities are being passed out in 2 of the island's central villages. Village constituents only may avail of this program on a first-come, first-served basis. Distribution is limited, however, to 3 households per vehicle at the sites. You must bring a face mask and wear the face mask. You also must bring a photo ID. So starting today at 10 a.m. to 12 over in Mangilao, it's going to be at the night market grounds for residents of Mangilao only. There are 600 food commodities bags if you and your family are in need. So Mangilao, 10 to 12, and then 2 to 4 over in Tamuning at the Tamuning Community and Senior Citizen Center for Tamuning constituents only who had previously registered for the food commodities program. There are 500 bags there. If you want to make plans for tomorrow, if you are in the village of Santa Rita Sumay, drive-through distribution is going to be from 12:30 in the afternoon until 5 in the afternoon at the community center down south. You can call your village mayors for either Mangilao, Tamuning, or Santa Rita Sumay if you would like to find out more. Again, Mangilao today, 10 to 12, Tamuning today, 2 to 4, and Santa Rita Sumay tomorrow, 12:30 to 5 p.m. if you or your family are in need of food commodities. A little more than $1 million in tax refunds are being processed and will be mailed out this week. Revenue says the checks are for returns filed on or before December 30th of 2021. You can check the status of your income tax return or refund by going on to myguamtax.com and using the lookup status of 1040 refund tool. Again, myguamtax.com. All right, let's get into today's stories now as we are going to continue with our coronavirus coverage as Daniel Perez has a story about understanding the guidance flow chart for isolation and quarantine.
In the isolation and quarantine chart Public Health released for the general public, there are 3 categories, and according to COVID-19 Public Health Emergency Incident Commander Fernando Esteves, residents will ultimately fall into one of each, starting with those who aren't vaccinated.
If somebody is not fully vaccinated and they're a close contact, they have to quarantine for 10 days from the date of last exposure. So that's the simple part. That's if they're a close contact. If they're not fully vaccinated and they test positive and they feel symptomatic, then isolate for 10 days, and that's going to be discontinued 24 hours if they've had no fever after 24 hours without the aid of any medications.
Fever is the biggest tell to watch out for, so that means no fever-reducing meds and symptoms have improved to end your isolation. Esteves added those who aren't vaccinated but are asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms, all they have to do is quarantine for 10 days after they get tested. For those who are fully vaccinated but don't have the booster shot and are a close contact of someone who caught COVID,
we recommend that they quarantine for 5 days since the exposure of the last exposure, and that we also recommend that they get tested as well after 5 days. If somebody is fully vaccinated and not boosted and they've tested positive, and then if you look here, and then same consistent with all, that they're symptomatic, then they must isolate for 5 days since symptom onset.
Again, no fever-reducing meds can be used, and their fever and symptoms must have improved to end their isolation. Now, if residents are vaccinated and haven't gotten the booster, but are asymptomatic, they must quarantine for 5 days after getting tested. For those that are fully vaccinated and boosted or are ineligible for the booster, they fall in the last category, including some Manumco and children 4 or younger.
So if they're fully vaccinated and boosted or ineligible, if they're a close contact, we recommend that they just get tested after 5 days. There's no recommendation for quarantine if they're a close contact, and that's for the fully boosted.
If residents who are fully vaccinated and boosted test positive, they must isolate for 5 days since feeling symptoms, and if they have no fever and other symptoms have improved, they can end their isolation. For those asymptomatic, they must only isolate for 5 days. Esteves added the flowchart made by Public Health mirrors the one released by the CDC. The only difference, says DPHSS, modifies it to fit the ongoing COVID situation on the island. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network. News Network.
Joan Ogun-Charfers has our next story as she introduces you to the creative minds behind Namalo Refillery, a new service that helps you live a waste-free lifestyle.
Meet Jasmine Flores Cantrell and Victoria Flores. They are the founder and co-founder of Namatlu Refillery, the island's first full-scale refillery that is affording the opportunity for residents to live a zero-waste lifestyle. The idea came about when Flores Cantrell, who was residing in California, living a pretty sustainable lifestyle, moved to Guam in the summer of 2021.
I was lucky enough to shop at one of the pioneering refilleries in California, and when I planned to move here, I knew that there was nothing like that here on Guam and that people were being denied the access to this lifestyle, so that's why we brought it here.
Flores, who admits she is new to living sustainably, says, don't let it scare you.
What people normally associate with having a zero-waste lifestyle or living sustainably is you gotta throw out all your bad plastic, and that's not the mission. Yeah, we're trying to use it to its full lifespan, and so you can no longer use it, and then just start from there. It's a little bit expensive here and there, but you gotta remember it's a lifetime investment.
We offer household and personal care products, so anything from shampoo, conditioner, body wash, lotion, facial products, to laundry detergent, stain remover, cleaner. The list is really endless.
Products are sourced locally whenever possible. When selecting products, they make sure they're non-toxic, package-free, and are naturally sourced.
It's very important that we're sustainable for our bodies as well, and we would never want to sell products with chemicals, artificial fragrances, or synthetic ingredients to our customers. About 50% of our menu is sourced from vendors and cottage makers here on Guahan, and if we can't find it locally, then we'll kind of gradually branch out within the Micronesia area. So we have some vendors from Saipan, the Marshall Islands, even further to other Pacifica sisters, so Hawaii is a big vendor with us. And then if we have to, we'll import from the mainland.
In keeping with their mission to reduce single-use plastic in the everyday household, all customers have to do is bring their old and empty containers. The process is really simple.
We will weigh them and then fill them up with the product of your choice and make sure that we're just charging you for the product. And then we're charging you by weight, so we don't just do like normal retail stores. We're charging you by weight.
These female entrepreneurs are appreciative of the response Namatlu Refillery has received.
We've had such a great support community, even before we had fully launched, so we're very lucky.
Visit their website at www.namatlurefillery.com.
That is where our schedule is posted for the month right now. So we have home delivery days Monday through Wednesday, and then Thursdays we're here at Skinner's Plaza. Friday we're at Telefuful Bay, and then Saturday we're over at Berido's Farmers Co-op.
And make sure to follow at Namatlu Refillery on Instagram for the very latest. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonagan Charfris.
All right, we're now going to go to the KUAM News Zoom room where Senator Clint Rigel is standing by. He's got the oversight on the Guam Power Authority, and you got two bills. There's a public hearing today at 9, Senator. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure, Chris. Thank you. Bill 212 and 213. They're both measures introduced by Senator Jocelyn Augustine. 212, what it does is it asks the legislature for authority to refinance some bonds, GPA bonds for the Guam Power Authority, so that the Guam Power Authority can save some money so that they can pay for the power plant that they're proposing to build down in Cabras. So Bill 213 is to get an exemption to current Guam law that does not allow the construction of new power plants within 1,500 feet of any school. So the proposed power plant down at Cabras will be 1,200 feet from Jose Rios. So the Guam Power Authority is seeking an exemption to the Guam law that requires it to be 1,500 feet away from a public school.
Wow. I got to say on the surface, it's a bad look. I know that I've seen just on social media a few different local environmental groups kind of chime in on this, and obviously they're very opposed to it. Did you have a stance on it yet, Senator?
Yeah, I'm opposed to both bills.
Can you tell us why?
Sure. For a lot of the reasons that were you mentioned, there's a lot of environmental concerns. That's one, of course. Putting it 1,200 feet from Jose Rios, I'm not in favor of that. I mean, there's a law there for a reason. to make it 1,500 feet away from a school. Now they want an exemption. And this whole thing is tied to the Ukudu power plant, which I was opposed to from the beginning. So this goes back to when I asked the Attorney General and the public auditor to take a look at this. We have yet to hear back from the Attorney General on this particular issue. The public auditor initially said there wasn't anything he could really do about it, sort of because the time had sort of passed on it. However, he did mention in his beginning of the new year what he's going to work on in this year, and one of the things he's going to do is an audit, performance audit of this procurement of this power plant. Because one of the concerns I had was with how this whole thing came about. Originally everything was supposed to be built at Ukudu. GPA kept pushing and the CCU pushing that, it has to be at Ukudu. Everything's Ukudu, and they gave this contract to KEPCO. And again, I have concerns with KEPCO. It's the same company that was sued for blowing up the power plant down at Cabras in the first place. Now I know, I believe Simon Sanchez likes to say that I have no proof of that. There is proof. They were sued. I have the documents. The insurance company did pay the power authority, but then the insurance company sued KEPCO for the explosion. And now what happened is, my understanding is they settled out of court. So what that out of court settlement is, of course, we don't know because it was settled out of court. So the KEPCO is the same company involved with that. They're the same company that is now being sued again, this time by the Attorney General and even some private landowners for the Marble Caves debacle. So again, this is an issue with KEPCO. They got the contract for Ukudu to build the power plant there. Something happened with that contract. They renegotiated it with the Guam Power Authority and basically said, we can't put this smaller power plant at Ukudu, which is supposed to be a backup power plant. They're saying now we got to put it down at Cabras. So I had concerns with the process along the whole way. I made those concerns known, and I'm still concerned about those things.
I know we had Nestor interviewed John Benavente about this Cabras power plant construction, and they are trying to get an exemption of the law, but he said if they don't get it, he was kind of like, it would be back to the drawing board. So how, if it doesn't go through, then what does GPA do then?
That's a question for GPA. This whole contract, why didn't they figure this out in the first place? This is part of the same contract for Ukudu. They said that everything was squared away with KEPCO. They awarded them the contract for Ukudu, and then now they're throwing these new things at us. So I think those questions really are for GPA. Why are we here now? Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Simon Sanchez to pop up in the comments. I don't know if he's already there, but have you heard anything on their side?
What?
More justifications? I'm sorry. Did they have any more justifications other than, we kind of want to build it there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They'll present their case today during the public hearing. Sure, John Benavente is going to have a presentation, and whoever else is signed up to testify in favor, they'll present their side for why they think it should be done.
I know it's a little early, but does this measure have any support other than Senator San Augustine, maybe?
I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to my colleagues about it. But I'm assuming most of them will probably support it because, most senators tend to support most of what the CCU and GPA asks for. That's just been my experience, but I can't say for sure on this particular bill.
What would you say to your colleagues who may be supporting this measure this early on?
Just ask them to take a good, hard look at the issue and, make the best decision.
There you go. Thank you, Senator. Anything else before this hearing?
That's it.
Right on. Senator Clint Virgil. Is there anything with the cannabis rules and regs? Because I thought they had gone to you guys, but then I think we interviewed, so you haven't heard anything.
So what happened was it was last at the Attorney General's office. It went back, the Attorney General's office sent it back to the Cannabis Control Board. The Cannabis Control Board adopted the recommendations by the Attorney General's office, sent it back to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General's office found some more things that they wanted to recommend be changed, sent it back to the Cannabis Control Board. So now my understanding is the Cannabis Control Board is working on adopting those recommendations, the second set of recommendations by the Attorney General, and then they'll send it back to the Attorney General. And then if the Attorney General signs off on it, then it'll go to the legislature.
So it's a little bit of ping pong right now. We did have a yeah, we did. As I said, it's a little bit of ping pong. We did have a comment here, Senator. Yes, Senator. Can you hear me? No, I think we lost him. Anyway, he's got to get ready for that hearing. We did have a comment here from Mike. Our ancestors made those laws for a reason. Some of them have passed, but it doesn't mean their laws are null and void. Shame on the people trying to undo laws that protect the interest of the public. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a hard sell if you're GPA saying, no, we want to build a power plant like 1,200 feet from your kid's school, right? I mean, just like I said, it's a tough sell. 8:41, we got to take a break. Actually, we don't. We're going to finish up with the news here. Jason Salas, thank you, Senator Rangel, very much. That public hearing's at 9 o'clock, and you can follow it on the Guam Legislature's YouTube channel. Jay?
Mm-hmm. All right, so once again, link update brought to you by our friends at Pacific Points. You know, Pacific Points, go there for the bonuses and stay for the coffee cake, because like those little coffee cakes there, really, really good stuff. I'll always love picking that up. Our next story is with Hannah Devanzo, and speaking of really good stuff, she introduces you to Freedom Park, a new attraction on the property that used to house the former Guam Greyhound racetrack. It's going to bring our people some very good things.
What used to be the Greyhound racetrack in Tamuning is now called Freedom Park. The Pacific War Museum temporarily closed and is happy to announce its reopening as an attraction for tourists, locals, and military families. The president, Mel Gerber, stresses the importance of preserving this part of Guam history.
Sergeant John Gerber, my late husband, understood the importance of teaching the next generation these lessons. He dedicated his life to the cause, and we are honored to continue the legacy.
In addition to the museum and its exhibits, the park will include
gift shops, cafes. We have a walking park that's open to the public. The Chamorro Patriot Pavilion, which would provide names of the your loved ones who have served or who is serving. We have the Freedom Park entertainment venue, and we have Camp Gerberville.
Treasurer for the Pacific War Museum, Janet Gerber-Calvo, says they hope to take the museum to the next level.
This museum, we're hoping to have it as more of an interactive museum and bring it to the level where we can send some of our artifacts off island to other museums and hopefully get their displays here. So our local community will enjoy seeing something new. We're going to target the children in this museum. They're going to have classrooms, and part of our mission statement was to educate and remind the communities about where Guam has been, what we've been through, and I think this is a good platform to display it.
Freedom Park is expected to open towards the end of 2022. At this time, the museum is taking donations where any amount helps. If you're able to contribute, email sponsor@guampacificwar.org. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Hannah Devanzo.
Hannah, thank you so much. Nestor Lecanto was our next story from the public policy side, showing that public health is in support of a mandatory prescriber registration for opioids on Guam.
The bill by Senator Talina Nelson notes that more than half of all local prescriptions are for opioids, but only 65 of 392 doctors who can prescribe controlled substances are registered to the Prescription Drug Monitoring Program database. Public Health's Division of Environmental Health Chief Tom Nadeau says they support mandatory prescriber registration.
This will result in improved patient care and management. Individual practitioners have a professional, lawful, and ethical duty to ensure controlled drugs are prescribed and dispensed in a manner that takes into account the nature of the drug being prescribed, the established medical standards for prescribing such drugs, and that there is a legitimate medical purpose for treatment using these drugs.
But Gary Schiff, a patients' rights advocate, says the mandate is not necessary. He opposes what he believes is an unnecessary government intrusion into what should be a private matter between patient and physician.
The prescription drug monitoring program was set up
to have the firewall at the pharmacy. If you go into a pharmacy with a Schedule 2, 3, 4, or 5 medication, they must, by law, access your history and see if you're doctor shopping, how many prescriptions. And if they don't do that, they won't be able to continue to order those drugs.
Public Health's Nadeau disagrees.
It starts with the prescriber, and that's usually the physician. They're the one who writes the prescription. So I can't say that this should be just placed responsibly given to the pharmacist alone. I think this should be a whole healthcare community effort. Everything from the prescriber to dispenser to the public to law enforcement.
But Schiff believes it's a solution looking for a problem.
Now, I also believe strongly that the system we have is working. I don't see statistics where we're seeing prescription drug abuse on the street, people, stealing drugs, overdoses. That's not Guam.
The bill revises a previous measure introduced by Senator Nelson in 2020. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
We have our continuing coverage of the impeachment proceedings against CNMI Governor Ralph Torres for you now, as Tomas Manglotny reports that the CNMI Senate is drafting up impeachment rules after the House, of course, voted to impeach the Commonwealth's chief executive.
Good on the Senate that they're already looking at least at the rules that were drafted back during the 18th legislature to prepare at the time, and then as we know, then Governor Fittel resigned. So at least they're not really starting from scratch.
Speaker Villagomez voted in favor of impeachment, and they're waiting for the Senate to adopt its rules later this week for the trial that would decide if Governor Ralph Torres remains in office. It would also set the parameters for the Speaker to appoint impeachment managers, who would be sitting representatives tasked with arguing their case. In a twist of fate, the Senate rules they may adopt were crafted by Governor Torres himself when he was a senator in 2013, preparing for the trial of Governor Benigno Fitial. But those rules were never set in motion because Fitial resigned after the House impeached him. Now Torres may have to face the remnants of the playbook he helped put together.
Meanwhile, the Senate is already preparing.
In this report by former KSPN2 News reporter Tina Sablan, who was an influential figure in Torres' recent impeachment and is currently running for governor under the Democratic Party, she speaks with then-Senator Ralph Torres in January 2013.
And we're just looking at various jurisdictions, and we're talking with some of other retired judges, justices, and to see what is the best way to approach that process here in the Senate, because we haven't had that experience here.
That experience, now perhaps all too familiar, as focus sharpens on the Senate's process. Senate President Jude Hofschneider held the same position in January 2013. He was interviewed in the same report by Tina Sablan regarding Fitial's impeachment.
I'm very much aware that they have a public mandate, and I respect that they are priorities for them to move swiftly with that resolution. And again, we need to take it head on, however it is. And when that issue comes around, we're gonna cross that bridge when it gets here.
And now, as history rhymes with itself, water is far from being under the bridge. Tomas Manglotny for KOAM News.
And we do have a story from the technology side, from the mainland for you, as AT&T and Verizon are set to turn on their new 5G technology network today. But airlines are saying the new tech interferes with their aircraft, creating a safety concern.
AT&T and Verizon say they're delaying the rollout of their 5G service near some airports amid concerns the signals could interfere with airplanes. In a statement, AT&T said, "We're frustrated by the FAA's inability to do what nearly 40 countries have done, which is to safely deploy 5G technology without disrupting aviation services, and we urge it to do so in a timely manner."
When it comes to safety, there's no calendar. You get it done right, or you don't do it.
Many airlines have warned the 5G service could interfere with the altimeter on many aircraft.
The FAA lists 17 systems that could be affected. And it says the pilot may not catch those errors in time to maintain safe flight and landing.
The CEOs of the major airlines all signed a letter warning that the new 5G services near airports could force them to ground half of the flights, resulting in major travel delays.
You know, we've got every stakeholder that keeps the airplane safe, the airlines, the manufacturers, the pilot unions, even on the mechanic side, the engineers, saying, hey, slow down.
The White House says it's working with AT&T, Verizon, and the airlines to solve the issues.
We're committed to reaching a solution around 5G deployment that maintains the highest level of safety while minimizing disruptions to passenger travel, cargo operations, and our economic recovery.
Phone companies have spent tens of billions of dollars on 5G, which brings much faster internet services and greater connectivity. Skylar Henry reporting for KUAM News. AM News.
And of course, your Link Update headlines, bringing you everything that's happening around Guam. Brought to you by our friends at Pacific Points, of course. Yeah, I was talking about that coffee cake. I'm not kidding. The Pacific Points program, really, really cool. Do more, get more with Pacific Points. And try the coffee cake. You know what? Let him know Jace on the link sent you. Yeah. So let him know. Okay. And now let's take a look at local headlines in Guam's native tongue. Here's Uncle King Conception with Chamorro News Update, sponsored by First.
Buenos updates to get some to be Chamorro ni KUAM News. Presenta ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank. Iparomaketsagi natahan itinat mingi COVID-19 tori eskwelahan Katoliko sa paromabira sa tatigya di remote learning natutung bi paguna dia. Dispes meeting jan tori tresin na prinsipal eskwelahan Katoliko jani Archbishop Michael Burns anunsya Archdiocese Agatnia na Catholic Education Superintendent Palivao Rodriguez sa DCD para mag-transition ni estudyante siya para din instansya na Finanagui lo temporaryo. Administrador de eskwela siya sa parofon makanta ke manayna i guardian siya jan estudyante siya parofon ma-informa po di schedule i class jan paro matsuli gi eskwela i material Finanagui. Mas asunto, giagan matis maaresta ni investigador i Highway Patrol na Division ni Guam Police Department si Nicholas K. Half-Power, 23 anos na edad por vehicular homicide no segundo grado na felony gifinay tayong Pedro T. Tavar Jr., 59 anos na edad. No ma-report ni KUAM gitaluan ni 19 de Disyembre 2021 na sakan, man marespondo i GPD sa ni Guam Fire Department sa put-crash gi Route 1 na talan fiyo ni Gain Animal Shelter ta ni talan fango gi Zazigo. Según ni dokumento ni Koti, akikit sa si Half-Power tumulay kay lane niya por para upos otro na kareta, ani atopi karetang Tavar ni color purple na Pathfinder no atopi ligan semento. Ma-extricate si Tavar gi karitanya, zamate gi después por itit nudan niya. Matsaki si Half-Power mas por impetun manyugon ni ugwahan at sinudan, dumuduro sa nugon niya impetun manyugon, zani peligro na bidan tinilay kansalan. Mabuk pas makandalo. Yuto mo na sunto gifinut sa moro para pago na Webes, gini KUAM News. Managwahan ni gobernamento kasi 3.5 milyon pesos para di siya mo nisisita azudo para wapasi mortgage niya, kastunhanam sang kandit, zanapas tax propiedad. Manunsya ni opisina ng gobyerno na di pre-application para Guam Homeowners Assistance Fund na programa sa para matutuhon maresibi gi Lunes, 31 gi Enero. Esta hulo gi 15,000 pesos para managwaha, panofan maamod gumaniya ni bangko, adi siya man ni na sentat saga, gisalapi na banda disti Enero 2020 na sakan. Siguro release gini adalo ma-preba ni US Treasury Department ini na sabi ni American Rescue Plan na salapi para este na programa. Sina man-aplika ho para este online gi internet gi doa.guam.gov pasano HAF Program Office gi segundo bebanda gi ITC building gi sa Tamuning. Dito las 8 giga hasta las 5 gi papayngi Lunes hasta Bernes. Para Guam News Network, Guam Sikin Conception. Yasuto gi finut sa moro sa presenta sa ninafatto ni Familian Mizo gi First Hawaiian Bank.
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, where you get smart insights into your finances so you can make smart decisions with your money. With a daily personalized feed, you can compare your monthly income to spending. That's better. Discover where your money is actually going. You might be surprised. See what's essential and what isn't. The more you use the app, the smarter it gets. With insights from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app, it all starts with yes.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
The relationship between Guam and Manila, Philippines is undeniable as we share similar cultural traditions, history, and heritage. With generations of Filipinos calling Guam home, KUAM presents a monthly look at the capital city featuring in-depth and engaging interviews on everything from medical tourism to new business and government leaders. Veteran newscaster Nestor Lecanto delivers Beyond Our Borders. This special program is brought to you by KFC and the Medical City, where patients are partners.
Buenas Sanhafadi. Part of taking care of yourself is participating in cancer screening. Make it a point to see your doctor at least once a year for an annual visit to discuss your risk and to determine which tests are right for you. Many tests are free or covered by insurance, and there may be programs to help those who don't have insurance. Cancer screening can save your life. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. So learn more at cancer.org/getscreened.
The Culture Club returns to KUM Digital and KUM News Weekend Edition, highlighting Guam's young artists, activists, and crafters as they work to protect, preserve, and promote our Tsumoto culture. Watch this weekly feature on the digital platforms of KUM News Weekend Edition, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
KUAM Communications continues our perpetuation of our Chamorro culture, language, and heritage with features available to our listening and viewing audience, including streaming of Chamorro music 24 hours per day on Isla Digital Radio on KUAM.com and the KUAM News app. Chamorro News Update, weekdays on The Link and the KUAM News YouTube channel. Conversations about life in our Chamorro language podcast, Cuentos Tapoco, with Kin Conception. Seasonal specials, shows, and other features highlighting the beauty of our language, culture, and history. It's a new era of our continued commitment to our Chamorro heritage. Isla, watch, listen, stream. Viva Isla!
Pacific Matters is a half-hour news, culture, and lifestyle show focused on issues that impact Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the larger Pacific region. Join Tomas Magonia every Monday to discuss politics, trends, and take a deep dive into the issues changing our island home, because what happens in the Pacific matters.
Uno Mixed. We're mixing it up on the last Thursday of every month with a look at lifestyle, entertainment, food, and so much more on the stations, networks, and digital platforms of KUAM Communications.
Uno Mixed is presented to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Pepsi, That's What I Like.
KUAM's multi-platform morning show, The Link, just got a little more delicious with Feed Me Fridays. Chris, Sabrina, Jason, and the rest of the morning crew will take some time off each Friday to talk, taste, and tempt you with all the latest and greatest food and drinks on Guam. Old faves, new hits, and everything else we can put in our bellies. It's Feed Me Fridays on The Link. Brought to you by King's Restaurants, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Devondale. Real milk from free grazing cows. This season, KUAM Communications is ready to go with more games, more championships, and more sports specials guaranteed to bring out the fan in you. Don't miss a minute of gameplay from NBC on KUAM TV8 or from CBS on KUAM TV11. We're bringing you all the action and excitement brought to you locally by Marianas Irrigation and Landscape and Docomo Pacific.
We know you're tired of hearing about COVID-19. Some of you are probably wondering whether this is ever going to end. However long it takes, we all have to do our part, including our children, to hold the line. You can protect yourself and your family by getting vaccinated.
And if you're already vaccinated, don't let your guard down because you can still give and get COVID-19. And if you're not vaccinated, remember that if you catch the virus, you could suffer more severe complications. At the end of the day, it's the choices we make to protect ourselves, our families, and our community that will control the spread.
We know it sounds repetitive at this point, but again, wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask.
Together, we have to hold the line.
Let us know what's up on our KOAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the Sinamai, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Chamorro News updates from KUAM News. Catch them on The Link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Chamorro News updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KUAM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out. Catch Sports Link on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday for the latest sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. Sports Link airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM, on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. Sports Link is brought to you by Marianas Irrigation and Landscape and Taco Bell. Live Mas.
with Breeze, KUAM TV. Good morning. We are brought to you by Specific Points, Cabo Enterprises, IT&E, and Jack in the Box.
Some compelling stuff there, Jason.
Very compelling, yes.
What do you got there?
I have a beautiful comment to read. This was from earlier. Remember when Father Val Rodriguez, right, superintendent of Catholic schools, was on, he said a prayer which I said, it moved me to tears. I mean, I have never actually cried during a Catholic prayer.
Why do you keep saying that? What type of prayer did you cry during?
No, there's born again
Was
Christian
like a
prayers,
Jehovah
or,
prayer you
Baptist
cried, or
prayers.
what other
There's
prayer?
been some tears on this show.
There has
during
been,
those
mostly
hard
for me
times.
though. I think I've cried the most here.
Right.
Okay, you've cried 3 times.
Yeah.
Breeze like 2.7.
We're gonna have like a tally now.
Yeah, Jay, you have cried once,
All your life.
No,
just once on this show.
But what's the comment though?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Thomas. I owe you for that. Okay, so Gina Marie Tenorio call. Chris's classmate at GW, my classmate at UOG, says, this is right after Father Val gave that just moving prayer. She goes, good morning, Jason, Chris, and Joe, sir. I really enjoyed the prayer that Father said this morning. It inspired me as I was sitting in the parking lot at my school to get in the classroom and continue to do God's will with my students. Teachers always need motivation and support, so that prayer hit the spot.
Thank you, Gina. You know what else is going to hit the spot? Yo, pay raise.
Yeah.
That's right, as we had Superintendent John Fernandez on yesterday. And he said they're working on it, right? And it's that chain reaction. It started with the nurses, then the law enforcement, then the teachers, then who else? Who else?
Yeah.
The media. 916, Tomas Manglotnia. Where do you want to start? He's got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we just got some news last night in the CNMI gubernatorial race. It's off to the races now. There's a full slate for each team, which many believe will lead to a runoff if one team does not get 50% plus one. So now we have on the Republican Party, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres, Senator Vinny Sablan, Independent Republicans Arnold Palacios, Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios, and Saipan Mayor David Apatang. And last night, it's official for the Democratic Party, Representative Tina Sablan and Representative Layla Staffler, who coincidentally have both recently been on this show and have both answered questions about this run.
Now, historically, historically, if they were to win, this would be the...
Well, this is the first full female slate
My question,
for
exactly,
the
yeah.
gubernatorial ticket ever.
Saipan has also never had a female governor
Never,
itself, right?
so let alone the Democratic Party's pick is the only... it was already historic with Tina Sablan's decision, and
right.
now
She was the first woman announced running, right?
Right, and so now Representative Layla Staffler is added to that history, and of course her roots over in Tinian. Many people pointing out that is probably also a base that they'd like to.
Now, this is actually 2 representatives who, by rule of law, will have to take themselves out, and obviously they won't serve in the next term as representatives.
Yeah, when do they have to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and one important note too is that right, we still have the impeachment process going through. The Senate is drafting its rules, and the House will actually have to select impeachment managers, which would be interesting to see whether or not any of the Democrats are chosen to be basically the prosecutors in the Senate's trial of Governor Ralph Torres to convict him or release him from the impeachment charges.
It'll be a good race.
It will be interesting. And
definitely
also,
a
we got
contrast.
this photo of some Democrats on Rhoda who are supporting Arnold Palacios and Dave Apatang. So it looks like the Democratic Party.
for Palacios Apatang.
Yes. So we'll have that full report tonight, but it looks like there's already, it's already proven to be a really polarizing election season from the start with the impeachment. And the photo coming out, the Democratic Party released a statement saying that it does not represent the entire party's view, but I mean, there was a banner and lots of people behind it.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Another question.
Yes.
I am ignorant about a great many things in this world. Not the least of which being politics, right?
Yeah.
You know how we say a cajillion times in election years on Guam, right?
Yes.
Is there really any difference between like a Democrat and a Republican on Guam? It all comes down to like who you're related to, right? Is that the same situation in the Commonwealth, or are there hardcore fundamentalists like Republicans and Democrats that subscribe to the tenets of either party?
I don't know. I mean, you can track people's actions and see whether or not it speaks to what their party is. I mean, are people really any true fiscal conservatives or social progressives, or are they more fluid depending on which way the wind blows that morning?
Right.
And so Yeah, so that's some exciting news, and we'll have the full report tonight. And Layla Staffler, Representative Staffler, will be on the show next Monday, and we'll have lots of questions for her because we've had pretty much every other candidate on the
Right.
show.
I'm looking forward to that. Tomas, I know you got a couple other things, but I did
Yes.
want to go to the phones real quick. We have ma'am on the line. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello?
Hi, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to inquire if it's a Guam holiday.
Oh, ma'am, can you turn down your radio? I know you like my voice very loud, but it's giving some feedback.
Oh. Oh, no. Let me see.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I just wanted to inquire, is it a Guam holiday? Because the reason I'm inquiring, I'm calling so many government of Guam offices and nobody seems to be answering, to include the 311. Do you know what's going on?
It sounds like a normal day.
A normal day. Really? Okay.
Fortunately, I'm so sorry about that, ma'am, but it's 2022 and they still can't figure out how to answer the phone, and people have been complaining about this since before the pandemic.
I see. Okay. I'm just wondering. It's just so frustrating. If they can't take messages, their mailboxes or voicemail boxes are full. So I'm just wondering. So it's not a Guam holiday today, I guess.
Not that we know of, but what are you trying to find out, ma'am? Maybe we could help you.
I am trying. I had my children and I and my husband have our COVID testing 2 days ago.
Okay.
And we were told that if we do not get a response within 24 to 48 hours, to call 311, and they will direct us as to where to go about.
No, they got you with that 311 thing, huh? They got a lot of people with that one.
Okay.
That's what they say when they're trying to get rid of you. They're like, yeah, busted, just call 311, never mind, okay, bye, later, shoot. Yep. And then you end up calling here because they're not answering.
And ma'am, may I ask, this is Jason, by the way. Buenas, good morning. Did they recommend to you to try that simple report system? Did they recommend that you register with a simple report?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't advised of that.
Oh, okay. Well, here's a website URL if you want to try this. I mean, hopefully this speeds it up like a little bit for you.
Do you know how to website, ma'am?
Yes, I do, Chris.
Okay, so it's a tinyurl.com.
Oh, the tiny one again?
Yeah,
tiny one.
So, but this one's tinyurl.com/Guam testing.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then if you there's like a little form that you have to fill out. It's very, very quick. But then if you register for that, they say like they could be able to get you your results electronically a little bit faster. Hopefully that works for you,
ma'am.
Okay, after registering, how long would I get the results?
We don't know that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, so can you walk us back? So you got tested. It's Thursday. What did you get tested on, Tuesday or Monday?
Tuesday.
What tell us about your experience.
No experience at all. I just came in close contact with a positive case, and I was advised to get tested.
Right. And so tell us about it. How did you go? Where'd you go? Tizen? What was the whole process?
We went down to Inaron Public Health.
Okay.
And we were advised that, it's not the rapid testing, it's a PCR. What it is we do not get results until within 24 to 48 hours. So it's just about almost 48 hours since I got tested, and I need to send my kids back to school because they're not allowed back to school, or not my kids, my grandkids, until they get a negative result. So I'm waiting.
Do you guys have any symptoms or anything?
Nope, not that we know of.
Oh, that's good. Well, ma'am, you've been waiting since Tuesday. We had someone in the comments say they got tested on Saturday, and they have not received the response. And they also registered at the fancy doohickey website thing that Jason told you about.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to sit and wait and see what happens. But I thank you very much for that information. I will see what I can do to see what I can do to get my results, and need to send my grandkids back to school.
Yeah, I know. Ma'am, what is the protocol, Jay? So you waiting for your results? Have you been going all around in the meantime?
Are you talking to me or Jason?
Yes, ma'am, I'm talking to you. So you got tested, right? You have not got the results, but are you just acting as if you're positive and staying home, or are you gallivanting everywhere?
No, just staying home and being safe with my grandchildren.
All right.
How frustrating is it for you to be in this situation where we're reporting 800 cases and you're still sitting around trying to get a hold of somebody, waiting for your test results?
Let me tell you something. It's giving me, I don't know, it's giving me an anxiety. And like I said, just have to be patient and wait. Even my grandchild is saying, Grandma, when are we going back to school? Told them they're not allowed back to school until they get their results, negative results, hoping all is well. And I don't know what more to do, but just stay home with their grandchildren, and like you said, no gallivanting, just stay home.
Now, ma'am, may I ask? Like, obviously, we're sorry that you're feeling this anxiety.
Yeah.
One, we hope it doesn't get worse. The longer it goes on. But what certainly this is not a unique case. And what advice could you give to your fellow Guamanians that may also be feeling anxiety? Like, is there anything that you can do to pass the time, or is there any wisdom that you can pass on?
Well, I don't know, just spend as much time with your loved ones at home. Stay home, at least, do some gardening just to get the time, to go by instead of feeling frustrated. Do what you like to do. What is your passion? Just do like I said, do what you like to do.
What kind of gardening do you do, ma'am?
No, I don't do gardening,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm considering that. I love music, and every time I feel this anxiety, I just go to my keyboard and start jamming my music away. And sometimes I tell my husband, if you're trying to call me, I'm on my headphones. Do not bother me. I'm just trying to get this, take it out on my keyboard.
Nice.
What's your go-to song, ma'am? What's the one thing that you can play that always gives you a lot of peace, or just gets you in a good mood?
A lot of local music, reggae music.
There you go.
Oldies but goodies.
Give us a little taste here. Do you sing along, or you just jam the keyboard?
I sing alone.
Give us a
jam the
song. Give us a
keyboard.
little song, ma'am, because a lot of people are frustrated out there.
No, not now.
An oldie but goodie. I love the oldies.
Yeah, yes. But anyway.
Anyways, right on.
Thank you
Okay, we'll get you started, ma'am. Ready? 96 degrees in the shade.
You guys can do better than I do.
Certainly not.
I just
Good
lip
job,
sync. It
guys,
works for me.
Anyway.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Of
and
course.
At least somebody answered my call.
We answer the phone around here.
My husband said stop flirting on the phone.
Yeah, Jay, stop it some more. No, stop it some more.
Now Chris is getting anxious, ma'am.
Well, you folks stay safe, and thank you very much.
Ma'am,
Appreciate
I'm sorry your governor is making you frustrated. I apologize on her and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio's behalf, and I just hope that you get your results today, okay?
Just pray for them. That's all.
Amen. Thank
Good
you,
luck,
ma'am.
All right. Take care now.
Esta, adios. There you go. Jamming away on her keyboard, musical isolation. That's her vaccine.
That's one way you can do it. Like you said, gardening, playing the keyboard, maybe cooking.
Grow marijuana.
Yeah.
And pumpkin and papaya.
Your veggies.
Your veggies. Eat your vegetables, guys. 927. Wow, that's so frustrating, man. That's so frustrating because we've gotten calls like that way back in the Alpha surge. We gotten calls like that during the Delta surge. I'm not just talking about people waiting for their test results. I'm talking about Gov Guam knuckleheads who don't know how to answer the phone. And I mean, maybe it's that everyone is calling at the same time. But if everyone's calling, that means you guys aren't doing your job of getting the information out here to the people. That's what it is. It's 9:28, Thursday, January 20th. Tomas, we did pose a daily question this morning that's already got quite a bit of interaction.
Yes, lots of people weighing in. We asked people what their thoughts are on students going back to online learning, if that's something they'd like to see because of the surge and frustration. One comment here says just bring back cohorts. Another comment saying it's getting very serious. And someone commenting here, Reina writing, if they go back online, then college students should go back online too. Catholic schools are trying it for 2 weeks. One commenter writing, yes, keep the children safe. And just endless comments here. If you want to engage with us and join the conversation on our daily question today, we just posted that. And,
So how many comments did you get?
There's a lot of them. Lots of people engaging online and just wanting to be heard. So
right on. So
yeah,
check
we'll
that
share
out.
those.
It's 9:28. We're going to take just a really quick break, and we're coming back with a brand new feature on the KUAM Podcast Network, and I think you're going to love it a lot. So go get all your friends, gather around KUAM TV on the Facebook Live. We're going to take you back to, what years is it? Come on.
The 90s.
The 90s.
I still had my Tamagotchi.
Oh.
I had my
30 years ago.
I had my acid wash jeans. I had my acid wash jeans. I was
Did you have your Bugle Boy acid wash jeans?
I have
Jay,
my-
at the bottom, you roll it up and it's like a paisley pattern.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Of course I did. I had my Reebok pump shoes.
Oh,
I was
pump.
watching Nestor Lecanto on the news every single day. Nestor actually got me through social studies class.
Right, nice.
I would have to write up current events. And I
Yeah,
would,
you're going to see a lot of familiar faces.
Micah,
sounds.
Micah had a comment in here, guys. Use ARP to hire people to answer the phone. Yeah, they need to hire people above step to just answer the phone. Make a thing out of it. It's 9:30. Quick break, and we're back with From the Files. Next, right here on the link. Good morning.
Looking for
Say hello to the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. Want a better look at your spending? With MoneyMap, you can automatically create budgets and manage where your money is going. Know when you have a green light or when it's time to slow down. Maybe cook more meals at home this week. Set your goals, track your progress, and find your way to exactly where you want to be. With MoneyMap from the First Hawaiian Bank mobile app. It all starts with yes.
Do you feel like you're missing out on something? Make life more rewarding with Pacific Points. Earn and redeem points for bill rebates and free load at IT&E, discounts on fuel at Shell, vouchers at Foodies, and United Mileage Plus miles. You can even pay with Pacific Points at IT&E, Shell, and Foodies. Pacific Points. Do more, get more.
GU Self Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
Get the job done the right way by getting the right stuff at East West Rental Center. With years of experience helping builders, we definitely got what you need. Call 646-1463 or visit us in Upper Tumon. Open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore. Stop on by and visit our showroom today. We offer everyday low prices on all major outdoor power equipment like bush cutter, chainsaw, power washer, generators, and more. Need service, repair, maintenance? Well, check out Guam's best superstore only at Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape, located in Barragata along Army Drive between Submarina and Besta Market. Call 735-7446 for more information. Now shipping to surrounding islands. Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape Superstore.
Catch Sports Link on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday for the latest sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. Sports Link airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM, on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Taco Bell. Live Mas.
Buenas Sanhafadi. Part of taking care of yourself is participating in cancer screening. Make it a point to see your doctor at least once a year for an annual visit to discuss your risk and to determine which tests are right for you. Many tests are free or covered by insurance, and there may be programs to help those who don't have insurance. Cancer screening can save your life. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. So learn more at cancer.org/getscreened.
The Culture Club returns to KUM Digital and KUM News Weekend Edition, highlighting Guam's young artists, activists, and crafters as they work to protect, preserve, and promote our Tamoto culture. Watch this weekly feature on the digital platforms of KUM News Weekend Edition, brought to you by Hanum, the freshest bottled water made in Guam.
Take in the panoramic beauty of our island each Sunday on the KUM News Instagram with Scenic Sundays. Scroll through the natural beauty of the island on display. Scenic Sundays on the KUM News Instagram is brought to you by Addis Trust and Investment, Location, Service, Trust, and Haagen-Dazs Shops Guam, where every day is made extraordinary.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Chamorro News updates from KUAM News. Catch them on The Link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Chamorro News updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
Warm breeze and a soulful sound. I got my mind made up about where I wanna be. Can't nobody take my home from me.
Yeah.
There is no
Welcome back to The Link, everybody. Tomas is standing by, and the world premiere, the debut episode of From the Files, a very compelling show, is coming up in just a few moments, but we want to run down what is going on with the testing capabilities right now. As you know, we've been telling you all morning, you need an appointment if you want to be seen at the Tiden testing site. Testing is booked for today, Friday, and Saturday. If you want to get tested, you can do so by calling either the Derido Northern Health Clinic or the Inalahan Southern Health Clinic. The numbers are... Yeah?
I just sent a picture of Guam Radiology too.
Okay.
They're doing testing. Yeah. But it looks pretty crazy, guys.
Yeah, we'll have a live report from there.
Okay,
later
the Derido testing site is 671-635-7525 or 671-635-7526. Joseph, I believe, is
Jay,
getting
do you
it.
feel weird reading out these numbers when we just had a lady call up and complain that no one answers them?
It is a little, I guess, a
Frustrating,
little
but-
awkward there. But
Keep trying, guys.
Good luck to you if you are able to get through. And please, you need to make an appointment if you want to be seen at the clinic to be tested. Once again, Derido 671-635-7525 or 7526. For our friends down south in Inalahan, 671-828-7604, 7605 or 7518. Of course, for vaccinations, today is a Thursday, so the UOG Caval Fieldhouse is not in operation while they do deep sanitization, but you can go to tinyurl.com/COVID stops with me and make an appointment with the other alternate sites if you would like to be vaccinated. Back to testing real quick. If you need to get a little one vaccinated, back to vaccination, I should say. There is vaccination today for the after-school program down in Jotnya at the MU Lujan Elementary School. That
Home of
starts
the
at-
Dragons.
There you go. Thank you. Starts at 3:30 and ends at 6. Also, food commodities distribution going to begin in about 24 minutes over in Mingilao from 10 to 12, I should say, over in Mingilao. Then at 2 to 4 in Tamuning. And then tomorrow it's going to happen pretty much all afternoon in Santa Rita, Sumay.
Thank you, Jay. 9:37. We're brought to you by Pacific Points, Cavo Enterprises, ITN, and Jack in the Box. Good morning. Tomas here with the latest from the KUAM Podcast Network. Tomas, tell us a little bit about From the Files.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you welcomed me into the podcast network, Chris. Really great to be part of that network. And
You're in the club.
You're in the club.
I'm in the club.
Your
officially.
indoctrination
We're going to get you a pin, a Podcast Network pin.
Thanks. I would be, and maybe the premium pay after.
The hazing is complete. You don't have to run and get Chris coffee
Yeah, and
anymore.
so all jokes aside, though, as KOM celebrates 65 years of its voice in the Marianas, we decided to launch this new podcast. It's called From the Files. It is what it says it is. We're bringing you all of the great reporting and footage that this team has put together through the past over 6 decades. You might see some familiar faces, but you listening to us now will definitely know some of the stories that we're going to be reporting on. On this episode, we reach back. Joser was there with me a few months ago scanning the tapes. And that was quite a treat for someone like me entering journalism, having to scan tapes that I
You're
didn't
like,
have to
first of
cut
all-
myself.
First of all, what are tapes?
But
there's this thing called Betamax that those of us old farts used
You
way,
would bring
way
up-
back.
You would bring up beta.
Yeah. And so much content. This is why we're starting it off with this 11-minute podcast, which you can now find across all the platforms and also our Facebook page and YouTube page. Today we're going to be focusing on some of the major devastating typhoons that the region has been through, specifically Typhoon Omar, Typhoon Paka, and Typhoon Sataan. And we're going to show you the interviews we got right after those typhoons. And every new episode will be dipping back into our history based on what we have here, literally stored away on our shelves, which is the tapes of the past 65 years.
Yes, and so we're going to play this now, guys. It's the first episode of From the Files, and we'll come back and tell you about some other great things that are cooking on the KUAM Podcast Network. Good morning.
Welcome to From the Files. We reach into our archives to recap, rewind, and remember headlines from the past 65 years of KUAM. In this episode, we're digging into our files, taking a look at typhoons that devastated our region. We'll bring you the sights and sounds from Typhoon Omar in 1992, Typhoon Paka in 1997, and Typhoon Sataan in 2002.
Typhoon Omar not only wreaked havoc with our lives, but also the many thousands of visitors who happened to be here when the storm struck.
There is the immediate cost of rebuilding, of course, what Omar destroyed, but there's also a long-term toll on what's been the island's bread and butter.
Omar turned the bustling Tumon tourist mecca into a virtual ghost town, and the tourism industry is just now getting back on its feet.
Typhoon Omar made landfall in 1992. Nestor Lecanto and Ginger Cruz anchored from in the field, examining the economic crisis that followed. Reporter Patrick McMurtry saw some of the devastating damage.
Thousands of homeowners share a common task, rebuilding what Omar tore down. The typhoon damaged an estimated 4,000 homes, destroying over 1,000 of them. The initial reaction of most of the people facing the enormous challenge of rebuilding their homes was positive. Federal officials credit this to Guam's vast experience in rebuilding after typhoons. The first chore, clearing debris. The second, apply for federal aid, and when the money starts coming in, reconstruction begins. Many of those affected by the storm apply for Small Business Administration loans, and the lead man for the SBA, John Brenner, says both the pace of applications and processing have been on the fast track.
Say some of the smaller loans, some of our unsecured loans they go very fast. As a matter of fact, of the applications we've received, we already have approvals that are back in Sacramento, and the latest word I had is we have funding on them already. So we're just waiting for some word of when, within the next week, when we're going to be able to start doing some disbursement on some of the smaller loans.
Brenner says the number of applications handed out by the SBA after Omar surpasses the number of apps handed following Typhoon Pamela in 1976. That means a lot of people will be building or rebuilding in the coming months. But what about the people left homeless after their rental units were destroyed? That question will likely plague the Ada administration for a long, long time. One suggestion is to build a large apartment complex.
Do that, what the governor is proposing, and again we have strong legislative support on this, is that another area be turned over to the Guam Housing Corporation. Guam Housing Corporation will use its own financing ability to erect an apartment structure of a minimum of 200 units, and these will be immediately put on the rental market, and again the program will be set up so that for those who are lower income, Section 8 assistance will be available.
That may be a short-term solution, but could to be a long-term housing project no better than a ghetto. Still, it's one unique solution lawmakers will consider. A grassroots movement gathering steam would have the government build a lot of the Lockwood homes that came through Omar unscathed. Besides being durable, the homes can, at least according to the builder, be put up in 2 weeks.
And some residents give back while building back. In this next story from our 1993 rebroadcast, KUAM takes a look back at some of the relief efforts, many of those in the community serving for the greater good.
The outpouring of support to help those hurt by Omar was perhaps among the best in the world. In 3 weeks, the people of Guam gave $1 million to the effort, not counting all the other little gestures of kindness that made life easier for all of us.
The majority of them, they're very generous. Some there's no response. They just nod their head no, or they just leave.
We're trying our best to make them as much typhoon-proof as possible, but still, we're not going to guarantee it because they are not concrete.
His name is Omar, just like the storm. He eats in fury, too. His favorite food is Crispy Bills, 1,000 thin and new. He's trained to stay right by your side until the job gets done. Please give and share as best you can for the American Red Cross Fund.
We saw this an antenna today that had toppled onto a car, and it was a rather pretty extravagant hood ornament for the size of the car. Kind of crushed the hood and the roof right into the tires.
just trying to keep the public moving, you know, because of the lights have been out. We want to help GPD control the traffic moving. That way you have less accidents. So it's like anybody, you entertain them, they're in a good mood, they keep moving. They don't get frustrated. When you get frustrated drivers, you get careless drivers.
5 years later, our files show images of Typhoon Paka, which ripped through Guam in 1997.
These images of Typhoon Paka ripping its way through Guam is now giving way to pictures like these. Although it's been 5 days since the storm slammed into our island, recovery efforts are only just beginning. Islanders are still waiting for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, to give them money to recover. Here is just a handful of more than 200 members affected on Guam. Ever since Typhoon Paka damaged equipment at Guam International Airport, flying people into Guam has been slow.
Well, that, of course, has been our primary problem, the inability to get the people here. We have the people waiting to come, but we can't get them in.
Newton says it will be another 7 to 10 days before disaster recovery centers are set up. In addition to those,
we have what's going to be called a teleregistration assistance line, which starting tomorrow, I believe, and we'll have more information later today on that, people will be able to call beginning tomorrow a number, and they can apply for assistance by calling that phone number.
the organization will not be releasing that number until the system is activated. Meanwhile, FEMA is not the only agency working to put Guam residents back on their feet again. The Salvation Army has been helping out since day one. But with 100 mouths to feed every day, Captain Dave Harmon says supplies are running out.
We have exhausted our supply of pantry food. That's groceries that we give out to have cooked. So we're restocking on that, and we'll be getting be going on that again early in the new week.
Starting tomorrow, the organization will begin handing out free clothes to victims. You'll need a written statement from a mayor, priest, or government official saying you need help. And for those of you who are lucky to have escaped Paka relatively unscathed,
whatever the community or the public can do to help provide resources, whether it's financial or in-kind donations, we would really appreciate their kukua in helping to see that the families who have been greatly affected by this typhoon have those resources.
And in 2002, Tsatsaan made landfall.
Condition 1 is 12 hours out. And that is actually going to indicate wind of about 58 to 60 miles per hour. Damaging winds 58 to 60 miles per hour.
Its eye passed northern Guam and brought heavy rain and wind. Here's our report on the aftermath.
Even during the midst of the second wave of Typhoon Tsatsaan, residents in the central part of the island were taking stock of the damage to their homes and trying their best to clean and repair their land. Flooding and down power and telephone lines in the downtown areas of Agana and parts of Tamuning stall drivers as they make their way through the streets checking out the devastation. With sustaining winds at 115 miles per hour with stronger gusts, vehicles here in Tamuning were thrown as if they were toy cars. The scene seems so unreal, considering many people never truly expected the storm to hit so hard. That's especially true for the vendors who had set up shop at this year's Liberation Carnival, who may not have heeded the warnings to secure their sites and have now lost nearly everything. The light materials used to construct their booths were no match for Tsatsaan's fury. The destruction at the Tsisan site is heart-wrenching, considering the time, money, and hard work the vendors put into their temporary businesses. Tin, lumber, and even merchandise, food, and prizes were strewn about, much of it damaged beyond repair. For Johanna, it was crushing to find her booth destroyed, as she and her family have sunk a great deal of their savings into the carnival site, especially as it was their first time setting up a booth.
Yes, this is my first time. It was actually my sister-in-law. She left off island, so she handed it down to me. And this is my very first time. It was good in the beginning.
Johanna and her family, like most of the other vendors, will now have to pick through the rubble, trying to save what they can, trying to recoup their losses.
Just try and salvage everything as much as I can. At least our birds are still there. Stuffed animals, at least are hard to find here, especially the Rock Island.
The amount of money lost by both the vendors and the government of Guam through the annihilation of the carnival cannot even be measured yet. Department of Administration Acting Director Cliff Guzman.
It's devastating, definitely. I mean, a lot of people put a lot of hard work into this, and there was a lot of high expectations and hopes that it would be a good thing for us. Nobody expected this, and I don't know what we're going to do now. I'm going to have to talk to the vendors. Some of them are out here picking up some stuff and seeing what they can salvage, and it'll be up to the vendors what they want to do, and we'll have to balance that against the cost of cranking it up if we do that.
Here at Teedson, I'm standing at what was, until yesterday, the site of the Liberation Carnival, as usual, slated to carry on throughout the summer. However, until assessments can be made, it's unsure at this point whether the carnival will even resume, as this site, like so many others, is utterly devastated. Reporting from Teedson for KUAM News, I'm Yana Person.
These images from our files seared in our island's memories, a reminder of what still might be brewing in our future. You're listening to From the Files. I'm Tomas Manglotnya. Stay tuned for more episodes from our KUAM podcast network.
Very nice.
Well, very compelling, my friend.
Well,
Good.
that was the work of all the past KUAM team too. I mean, just amazing.
We're standing on their shoulders.
There you go.
Yeah, and only more to
Again,
come. I mean, there's like literally shelves full of tapes back there, so I'm sure that we'll be busy.
So we saw Ginger Cruz. We saw Nestor came back to KUAM after working at CNBC and the TSA.
We saw that guy macheteing, and I was looking at that guy macheteing. I was like, I used to have a pair of quick dries like that.
Yeah. Yana Person, who was with us for a couple of years, she came over from. I'm Tar Heel born, I'm Tar Heel bred, and when I die, I'm Tar Heel dead.
I'm just waiting for that goat to make a comeback. Where's that goat now?
Yeah, where's that goat? Probably somebody Kadu.
Yeah, and it will be interesting later to learn where some of those people that we interviewed are now and how things have been since then.
Yeah,
too, so.
it kind of just started accidentally because they were talking about, oh, we got all these tapes, we're gonna have to clear them out, and somebody was like, hey, hold on a second, some good stuff on there.
Was that you? Somebody?
Yes, it might have been.
Yeah.
So what
Somebody
was
said.
What was it like, Tomas, going through those tapes? Because I want to say this stuff happened before you were
I was born in 98.
98, okay.
So a lot of things happened before me.
Right.
No, Cheta An was 2002, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Omar was 97.
Yes.
Before you were born a year. And what was the other one?
92, yeah.
Paca was 92.
And so, it was quite something. And, I mean, the commercials alone could be its own series. I mean, wow. It was amazing. It was fantastic to review.
Wait, you had commercials in there?
Yeah, because they were the whole shows.
Oh man,
so we didn't put the commercials in here.
When I was in marketing school, we used to write entire papers like on Guam. I'm gonna hit my retros and get back to Tumuni. Remember that?
Yeah.
So
Super Chick.
Yeah, just lots of gems. And of course the stories. Especially with the typhoons, they're always devastating. But it provides us a chance to look back and maybe also kind of anticipate what may be coming as well. I mean, history tends to repeat itself in a lot of ways.
Yep.
So
knock on wood. Because I'm telling you that this generation now, this cast of characters that we have living on Guam have not seen, well, for the most part, anyone who was born in 1998 and up.
Yeah. Well,
haven't seen this type of thing.
I mean, there's been Sudler on YouTube and the Cinemai, so
Yeah.
if you've been there for that, you've kind of had a that
definitely.
experience. But we're gonna continue to bring that. There's no shortage of footage back there. So
Right, and so we were kind of kicking around what would be some of the next few episodes.
Yeah, so let us know if you remember a particular event and you want us to dig into it. Let us know. There's
Literally
so many,
dig?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, like sort through the tapes back there.
952. Other things that we have going on the KUAM Podcast Network is popular local priest Father Eric Forbes is going to be doing Elect Nisi Pali. I was able to very glad it's his podcast, but he asked me to jump on and kind of like bounce things off of. So we recorded a couple episodes last week, and we're going to put that out next week. Really excited about that because Pali Eric really just specializes in history and language and culture, and so The way he describes this podcast is like a fiesta table. You got a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that, you get a little bit of this, that, and then a lot of that, and,
and also you have to line up at a specific point to really appreciate
Right.
the rest of the layout.
And then you wash it all down with a Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, and he's Polyaric's written what, 2 books on Chamorro history at least.
At least he's also got the I Am Chamorro DVD.
Yes.
Right. So I'm really excited about that. I consider him a really good friend. So it was good to record those episodes with him. And the subject matter, don't want to spoil too much, but the first episode, he goes into the history of the word chod.
Oh.
Yeah. And so it's really funny because why he went into it was when he found out that it was a word used by Chamorros to make fun of other Chamorros for being too Chamorro. He was kind of offended by that, and he went into the history of it, and you'd be surprised how this word and its meaning and use has evolved over the years.
That is fascinating.
It's great.
Okay, I went to Sanchez, right? So we had like all the base kids from Anderson, and we had the majority of the kids that went to Sanchez, because it's a mix of Jigo and Derrida, were Filipino. So I never heard the word chod until I was at UOG, right?
Yeah.
There was always a word that began with an A and ended with an M and ended with an
Chada,
A.
yeah.
No, Megwa, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 9:55. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and close out the show right here on the link. It is Thursday, January 20th. Good morning.
The
Hey, Jack.
KUAM Podcast Network is back and on demand, featuring a great variety of podcasts from our island and region, including culture, lifestyle, awareness, crime, politics, commentary, comedy, and entertainment. Available on most streaming platforms. The KUAM Podcast Network. Subscribe and listen now.
Buenas Zanhafadi. Part of taking care of yourself is participating in cancer screening. Make it a point to see your doctor at least once a year for an annual visit to discuss your risk and to determine which tests are right for you. Many tests are free or covered by insurance, and there may be programs to help those who don't have insurance. Cancer screening can save your life. There are screening tests that can catch cancer early when it may be easier to treat. So learn more at cancer.org/getscreened.
Catch Sports Link on the KUAM News Morning Show, The Link, every Friday for the latest sports news, game schedules, athlete profiles, and more. Sports Link airs every Friday across the multimedia platforms of KUAM. Tune into the broadcast on Breeze 93.9 FM, on KUAM TV 11, live streaming through the KUAM News Facebook page, or view highlights on YouTube, KUAM News Facebook, and Instagram. Sports Link is brought to you by Mariana's Irrigation and Landscape and Taco Bell. Live Mas. The world of television is more exciting than ever. Don't miss a minute of special presentations from NBC on KUAM TV 8 or from CBS on KUAM TV 11. Every month, we'll bring you the fun and excitement of award shows and red carpet moments, special series presentations, and other great network programs. Brought to you locally by King's Restaurant, Ruby Tuesday Guam, and Docomo Pacific, giving you more reasons to tune in and turn on. Fall in love with TV again with the best from KUAM Communications.
Listen, watch, and learn from the daily Chamorro news updates from KUAM News. Catch them on The Link during the 8 o'clock hour, streaming online on Isla Radio, or on the KUAM News YouTube channel for your convenience. Tune in and stay informed, all while preserving our precious culture through the daily use of our native Chamorro language. Chamorro news updates are brought to you by your familia at First Hawaiian Bank.
Let us know what's up on our KOM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the Sinamai, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094.
We know you're tired of hearing about COVID-19. Some of you are probably wondering whether this is ever going to end. However long it takes, we all have to do our part, including our children, to hold the line. You can protect yourself and your family by getting vaccinated.
And if you're already vaccinated, don't let your guard down, because you can still give and get COVID-19. And if you're not vaccinated, remember that if you catch the virus, you could suffer more severe complications. At the end of the day, it's the choices we make to protect ourselves, our families,
in our community that will control the spread.
We know it sounds repetitive at this point, but again, wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear your mask.
Together, we have to hold the line.
See what's on TV tonight with schedules, network news and notes, local promotions and giveaways on KYM Communications social media pages. Like and follow us on Facebook or Instagram now for all the latest and never miss out.
For me, it's brought to you by Burger King and Docomo Pacific. Drive-through Mondays. Every 10th car gets a Whopper. All right. Thank you so much, Burger King. Again, we're going to leave you with this Cover Me. It's some great local music right here on the link. For Joe Sir, Sabrina Sauce Mazzanani, and Jason, my friend, good job today.
Good morning.
This has been another episode of The Link. Hasta adios.
Time of the year, lights fill the streets, but it's so much cheer. I should be playing in the winter snow, but I'm not being that mistletoe. I don't wanna miss out on the holiday, but I can't stop staring at your face. I should be playing in the winter snow, but I'm not being that mistletoe. You, shawty with you, shawty with you. Roasting like a hot July. I should be chilling with my folks I know.